So I got the Univision. We could start that, and I might have to break this in the middle. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. I'm going to stay on till a little before 3. I got about an hour, and then I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back on at 4 o'clock, my regular time, off that way. There's no stars here, Hal. You're all stars to me. It's like as Paul Stanley always says, as far as I'm concerned, there's 4 stars. All right, now here we go. Let's go to Univision. Ladies and gentlemen, and don't forget, while you're at it, there's the Venmo. If you want to take a picture of that with your phone, or if you've done it before or whatever, you can support the show that way. If you don't want to get into all the complicated internet stuff and you happen to use Venmo, that's one of the ways you can do it. You just point your phone at that, and then you can give me a cup of coffee, something like that. Patreon.com/HalSparks, and of course, subscribing helps the most, and it's free, unless you're on Twitch, in which case it costs money to subscribe. But if you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. And there are 9 million people watching right now, and those are just the front row Joes. And I apologize to everybody that the internet is currently full. But I don't know what to tell you. The show is that popular. This is singularly the greatest live stream in the history of the internet. And look, I wish I could say something different, but I try not to fly in the face of public opinion. Yeah. So, we'll get to the gun stuff. Yeah. Later as well. And also, again, today's stream is dedicated to, the healthy recovery of Jake E. Lee, who is awesome. Okay. Now, this is the town hall. Latinos ask, Donald Trump responds. I will say, Univision, they're playing it tight.
Welcome everyone to this historic night where Latinos, the voters elected by an independent company and convened by Univision News, will be able to ask the Republican candidate to the presidency, Donald J. Trump, in this.
But by the way, when they'll do, there's a lot of translation in this. Just to, for those of you that I'm cool with it, but I prefer subtitles a lot of times. But because the double talk is always weird, I feel like they should. Really lower one voice or the other. A lot of times they almost keep them close to the same volume. It's a bit peculiar. But needless to say, I love the fact that Trump nods like he understands what the fuck is going on.
Again, historic encounter.
She's been here for the first time she voted was 16 years ago when she became an American citizen. Diana, tu pregunta, bienvenida, buenas noches.
Señor Presidente Trump, buenas noches. El alto...
By the way, in future, Trump will talk about some of the questions he was asked, and everyone that you hear speak at this event will talk like this. No, we know, we have quick trial. Like they'll all talk like an Indian in a fucking 1940s cowboy TV show.
El alto costo de la vida está muy alto.
Good evening, Mr. President. The cost of living is very high.
Antes una familia como la mía comprábamos $200 a la semana en comida. Ahora está en 350 y sigue subiendo.
Well, it's going to be a lot cheaper when you're rounded up and sent back to Acapulco. I hear it's very nice. Maybe you could catch a ride with Cancun Cruise. I don't know. He sometimes will go through there. Yes, Osbjorn is true.
A family like mine used to spend $200 approximately weekly for groceries. Nowadays, we're spending over $350, and that's increasing.
¿Qué piensa cambiar para mejorar la economía del país, especialmente para personas como yo?
What are you planning to change to improve the economy of this country, especially?
It's going to be about energy and drill, baby, drill.
Especially for people like myself.
Oh, he's not doing any of this for people like yourself. I'm just saying, lady.
Well, thank you very much. Look, this is a problem called...
Sorry. I don't know why the fuck he looks like a televangelist who's about to break into song. Well, I like to hold the mic like this because it gives me a more effete, well-bred feel, but Jesus came down the mountain and brought me back to heaven, and I hope you can find your way. Oh, drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life. I said, drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life. Don't you drop kick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life. Kick away, Lord, kick away. Sorry. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am funnier when I'm sleepy.
Caused by this administration.
I had 3 hours of sleep last night and 45 minutes on a plane.
4 years ago, you had no inflation. Now you have...
Yes, we had collapsing deflation. We had an economy in the shitter. Oil was negative $36 a barrel because no one needed it, because no one was going anywhere.
Record-setting inflation. What they've done to this country is incredible in so many different ways.
By the way, he keeps saying incredible. It sounds good, though, because I agree. What the Biden-Harris administration has done with this country is incredible. Like, there's no guarantee we would have recovered from fucking COVID. There's a bunch of other countries that didn't. China's in deep shit right now. Russia's run by a fucking inbred lunatic, and their economy's failing on top of our, just beyond our sanctions. They're heading towards a demographic fucking cliff.
Incredibly bad. We have...
He clarifies, incredibly bad, just to make sure.
People complaining about groceries, about prices, about rent, about everything.
I just love how he thinks like groceries is a colloquialism. You know what I mean? Like, who says groceries? You know what I mean? Because he's never shopped for anything.
Interest rates went from 2% to 10%, and you can't get the money.
By the way, they're not 10%, and you can, unless you've got 6 bankruptcies, 30 plus a bunch on the way, felony convictions, and everybody's seen your books. Look, I don't care what the interest rate is. This motherfucker can't get the money anymore. You know the other reason why it's 10% you can't get the money is because Russia's not backfilling Deutsche Bank like they used to.
You want to buy a house, you can't buy a house anymore. You can't do anything. But
That's right, you can't do anything. Just freeze. Freeze. Don't move. You can't. Hey, I don't want you to think. Thank you, Jordan. You can't do anything. It's terrible. You can't go outside or you burst into flames. There's zombies everywhere. All the squirrels have turned evil.
Biggest thing I hear about is just what you said, groceries, the food. So we didn't have inflation. We had a great situation for everything, for virtually everything.
The last year, which kind of caused all the stuff that happened after it that we're getting out of now.
When they came in, they spent, and they also blew my energy policies up. So we had inexpensive energy.
Hold on. They blew up his energy policy. By the way, energy production didn't dip in any way because of Biden-Harris policies. It dipped because the entire world economy had shut down and there were literally boats adrift full of oil with nowhere to go for months on fucking end. And then they all start coming to the United States because we were the only ones spending because of Democrats like force feeding the economy again to make sure it didn't collapse. And again, $9 trillion in stimulus, but you can't plug a $20 trillion hole with $9 trillion. That's why all the Fed's normal attempts to lower inflation didn't fucking work, because we were the expense was supply shock.
Energy. Now you have the most expensive thing on the list is energy. That is such a big category that it leads to everything. Everything else follows. Everything follows energy. We have...
Everything follows energy. Okay, then why did things get more expensive over the course of your presidency, and the production of oil went up at the same time as well. Right? He wants to brag that he increased oil production every year while he was in office, which he didn't do, but we'll talk about that later. And he wants to say that the prices, everything they had medium inflation, is what he's saying. It averages out at 1.9 because of the crater that was created by COVID, but it was closer to 2.6 the entire time he was in office, especially the second and third year when his policies actually came in, right? And this stuff creeped up like it does. It just goes that way. That's because we got that kind of economy. It just kind of there's constant growth, constant expansion, a little bit, and they try to keep it in that sweet spot, but that's what it does. So if he was producing all this oil and they had so much oil and it was just we were flush with it because of his policies, then why did prices only crash because of COVID?
We have more liquid gold under our feet than anybody else. There's no other country.
Also, this asshole found out when he was president that Saudi Arabia is basically cash poor and ran out of oil a long time ago. And Russia has a ton of oil, but it's all up in the fucking permafrost. And they don't have any structure to get it out of the ground without us. The only reason you can say we have more than Russia is because Russia can't get to what they have because they need Western technology to do that, and they fucked around in Ukraine and found out.
Country that has liquid gold like we do. That's oil and gas. We're going to bring your energy costs down, and with your energy costs, everything is going to come down. We're going to also make jobs available so you can afford, literally, much easier. We're going to have many more jobs than we have right now.
Oh, yeah? What would those jobs be in? Just jobbing? Hey, man, I'm going jobbing. What are these? Do you think people are fucking Lego characters that they just go and like click, 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 click? I go to the click factory. I'm just going to build I'm at the build-a-wall factory. We need walls and wheels. Everything is awesome.
We set a record. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country.
No, he did not. This is just cartoonishly stupid. No, he didn't.
Now we have a lousy economy.
No, we don't. Our economy is rock fucking solid, especially compared to the rest of the world after a giant pandemic.
Primarily because of inflation. So we're going to get rid of the inflation. We're going to.
But inflation is worldwide.
Drill, baby, drill. I'm going to get your energy costs down by 50%, 50% over the course of 12 months, which will be easy to do.
Yeah, it's going to be easy to do. Why? Why does he think it's going to be easy to do? What's he going to implement as far as drilling and exploration that will raise the production of oil in the United States in a year? Open up Anwar. I got news for you. You wouldn't even be pumping oil out of that. That would be oil futures 2 years down the line, even if he got it, and he won't. Here's what I'll show you. Whoops. This is why he keeps talking about this. There's already enough production, and demand is shrinking. Demand is diminishing super fucking fast. And like, there's a disagreement about whether it's 3 years away or next year, but a bunch of folks are like, nope, because of China, next fucking year. Then here's the other one. This is, if I could look at the Financial Times. World faces staggering oil glut by end of decade. Energy watchdog warns. Sorry, what? Oil glut? You do realize you can just leave it in the ground, right? God damn, these people are stupid.
Because we have more energy than Saudi Arabia. We have more energy than Russia, anybody. We were energy independent.
Imagine if we used the sunshine that hits our land every day and the wind that passes through large portions of it in a predictable fashion. or perhaps even the geothermal possibilities of damming rivers and geothermal heating and housing and the like. Imagine the efficiency that goes up when people get almost entirely off the grid and can have battery systems in their homes that store enough power off their daily pull from renewables to run their house for multiple days.
Just 4 years ago, and now look at us. So energy is going to bring it down, and the spending is going to bring it down. We're going to cut a lot of waste and abuse that won't affect anybody other than our bottom line as a country. And
what? We're going to cut waste and abuse that isn't going to affect anybody except our bottom line as a country. Sorry, you think cutting the deficit will affect grocery prices? How's that work? Exactly. In a year.
And you're going to be in great shape. You just hang in there. We're going to bring those costs way down.
Thank you.
We're going to bring those costs way down. I'm done. I didn't say it right. I was going to say something else, but I forgot what it was. Drill, baby, drill.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Diana. Muchas gracias.
I gotta say, he looks stiff as a board, and I think it's all the accents in the room. Honest to God, I think like when there's people around and they're talking like this, he's like, oh God, oh. Okay, so I have a friend, dear friend, and I won't embarrass him by saying his name, Chris Bono, but Chris had never been out of the country. And I remember very distinctly a moment we had, because I'm what you would call, ladies and gentlemen, chat room, I'm what you would call an adventurous traveler. After being a road comic since I was fucking 15 years old, I'm good. Pretty much anywhere you drop me, I can entertain myself, feed myself, get my, shelter, get my needs met on a basic level, and not really worry too much almost anywhere. And I can learn, and I know my P's and Q's in a bunch of languages. So anytime I go someplace, I learn my P's and Q's, my, please and thank you, where's the bathroom, what time is it, what time are you open, what time do you close, those kind of phrases, right? And so Chris had never been out of the country. And Chris is like a nice version of Donald Trump in some ways. Like he, but he grew up, working class. So he's got this kind of like working class panic. And we went to, I took him to Thailand with me because I could get a free extra flight at the time that we were like running this thing, like buy a flight to fucking Thailand and you get a companion flight. And I was like, come with me. You've never been out of the country. Let's go. Retrospect, I probably should have taken him to Canada first. But we go to Thailand and he had a moment where we're in a street market and I am eating, I've got sticks of food. I have scorpions in one hand and squid eggs in the other. And I'm like, this place is great. And I look over and Chris is a sweaty mess who's having a panic attack. And I realized that he does not have the fun-loving comfort level that I have in these situations. He would soon have it. He acclimated very well over a couple days. But the first couple days there, this was super alien, super fucking quick. And everybody's around you. Nobody speaks English for the most part. And you're just, I've got a fucking phrase book with me. I'll make it. I'm cool. And hell, I was eating simmer. So anyways, I look over him and he's basically on the verge of a panic attack because he's like, if I don't know what I'm going to eat and I don't know what they have here and I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm going to die and no one speaks his language and Hal's going to be having fun down the street like a block away and he's going to lose me. You just tell, right? And again, he eased into it eventually. But I'm here to tell you that Donald Trump has this as a pathological problem. Just letting you know. To Donald Trump, hold on, let me make this transition. Override none. Let's go to. I'm gonna try that because it seems to be weird. So I'm gonna try and fix that. All right. Anyways, so Trump clearly has that issue. I'm calling it.
President Trump, as you know,
Thank you.
farming is one of the most demanding jobs, and farmers like.
Yeah, he knows. You don't have to tell him. He was born with a hayseed in his mouth. He the most comfortable seat in the world is the edge of a tractor wheel. He once was involved in a game of tractor chicken while holding out for a hero plate, or was that Kevin Bacon? I always get them mixed up.
Like Jorge Velasquez over here, work hard to put food on the table of American families. He has a question for you. Jorge Velasquez es agricultor y tiene una pregunta.
Good hair, yeah, by the way. Nice hair. Look at that.
Nice hair. Look at that. Heh. It's because he can build bridges.
Buenas noches, señor presidente Trump. He trabajado toda mi vida con estas manos, agachado por horas, piscando fresa, cortando brócoli.
Can I just say that one of my favorite things about this event is that somewhere Stephen Miller is watching this because he has to, and every time someone speaks Spanish, a little part of him dies.
Good evening, President Trump. For many years, I have worked with these hands, hunched over, picking strawberries and cutting broccoli.
Chopping broccoli. I love that this guy gets the voice of Mr. Han from Enter the Dragon as his translator. Gentlemen, O'Hara's treachery has disgraced us.
Este duro trabajo es realizado en su mayoría por gente indocumentada.
This tough job is mainly done by undocumented people.
Right. Dude is just full on admitting to a crime. So I have a farm. I lived here for a long time. Most of my workers don't have a green card and are here illegally. Anyways, what?
Si usted deporta a esta gente, ¿quién haría ese trabajo y qué precio pagaríamos por la comida?
If you deport these people, who would do that job and what price would we pay for food?
Please. Finished, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he's finished.
So the problem we have is we had people coming in under my administration, and they were coming in legally. They were coming in through a system that we had, which was great, because
Yeah, he's not talking about those people, stupid.
I'm the best thing that ever happened to farmers. You know that.
I gave farmers billions of dollars. So you're going to tell this guy who probably came here illegally and then eventually either it worked out some sort of a deal or got asylum or citizenship or permanent resident status or something, and then has been running a farm, mostly employing illegal labor, that you're his biggest fan.
It's great. You know, farmers are doing very badly right now, very, very badly under this administration.
He is a farmer.
Under my administration.
Also, why? Why is this guy doing badly? Is it because the Biden administration is deporting more people than you did?
Farmers did very well. We have to have a lot of people come into our country. We just want them to come in legally through a system.
Oh, okay. So like an open border kind of work card situation, temporary work visas, that kind of stuff, seasonal work, shit that was in like the first Biden border bill and partly in the second one, that shit.
Because they've released hundreds of thousands of people that are murderers, drug dealers, terrorists. They're coming in.
Look at these folks. This motherfucker. This is when the arms start crossing, by the way. Most of the time there in the beginning, there's a little bit of this. And then by the end of it, this is not, in most Latino communities, apparently, this is the big, okay, what the fuck are you talking about? Body language. And like, I don't know what the fuck he's telling this guy for. Like, yeah, some of them are murders, but boy, can they pick strawberries. I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
Totally, nobody knows who they are, where they come from. And the people that are most against it are the Hispanic people. They are,
maybe that guy knows some.
Are totally against it, what's happened.
Yeah, they're totally against it. I mean, if you guys just ask one, if you run into them Oh, motherfucker.
And the other thing I can say is that
I mean, can you imagine, if you will, a presidential candidate talking to an entire room of black people and going, you know, the blacks really love me. Oh, wait, he did at the black journalist gathering.
a lot of the jobs that you have and that other people have are being taken by these people that are coming in. And
hey, asshole. No, he said that's his farm. He's hiring those people. He's not hiring people who are citizens. What are you talking about? He just told you. He's worried you're going to deport his workforce, you tit.
And the African American population and the Hispanic population in particular are losing jobs now because millions.
Sorry. It is your premise that Hispanic Americans are losing work picking strawberries on that man's farm to undocumented Hispanics who... Huh? What? Jesus.
Millions of people are coming in. So they're coming in, but they're also coming in largely, and tremendous numbers coming in out of mental institutions. They're emptying out mental institutions.
It's just like what would normally be muscle memory speech for him in front of a crowd. This is so fucking cringe. God damn. Shut up. Like most of the people who came into this country from other countries, they escaped mental institutions.
They're emptying out insane asylums. That's a step above a mental institution. Worse, bigger problems, bigger problem people.
Bigger problem people. That should be easy to translate. Sure.
They're emptying out jails. Their jails are being let into our country from Venezuela, but not just South America. From all over the world, they're being let in. From jails, from...
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Crazy. But let's just put that aside for a second. This guy wants to know how much groceries are going to cost if you kick all the people that pick the strawberries on his farm, his fucking farm, out of the country.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. The jail population throughout the world has come way down, and it's all coming into the United States of America. So we want workers, and we want them to come in, but they have to come in legally. They have to love our country. They have to love you, love our people. The problem with this administration is
they have to love you? Can't they just be okay with me or like me a little bit? I just don't know if I'm ready for a commitment this early in the season.
They've totally lost control. It's the worst president and the worst vice president that we've ever had in this country. What they have done to our country in terms of hurting it. Our farmers, by the way, are dying. They haven't had any...
Thanks, CSL.
Anything so bad in 25 years. 4 years ago, our farmers, including you, were making a lot of money. They were doing great. Now they're absolutely dying. We're going to turn it around. But we want people to come in, but we don't want...
What do you... Dude, nothing has changed on this dude's farm at all.
Murderers. So it was just announced that last month by the Border Patrol that under Biden and Harris, they allowed 13,099 convicted murderers, people in jail, to come into our country. They released...
No. That's the number of people that are in the federal system right now that have been in there for a long fucking time. This isn't a new number. This is an accumulative number. And a good portion of which happened while he was president.
Released them from jail into our population. And nobody wants that. And that doesn't include the terrorists and all of the others, the gang members, MS-13 gang members, and other gang members.
Yeah, the other ones. I mean, I'm sure there are other ones.
We have to have people that are
There's the Crips and the Bloods and the Jets, and what was Pinky Tuscadero's thing in Greece?
great people come into our country, but we do want them in, and I want them in even more than you do, and we're going to make.
I want them in even more than you do. I gotta say, I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that one. I'm gonna double down on that. Yeah. Donald Trump does not want legal immigrants from South America to come in and pick strawberries more than this guy wants undocumented workers to come in and pick strawberries at a lower price.
Make it so that people can come into our country legally. Thank you. Good question. Thank you.
Gracias por la pregunta. Thank you, President Trump. Our next question
Jesus Christ, that was... Oh, my God.
comes from Daniel Perez. Daniel is the first member of his family to have a college degree. Now he's worried about finding the right job, one that is relevant to his area of study. Daniel Perez, el primero en graduarse de la universidad en su familia.
Also, it is not lost on me that when Donald Trump is meeting with people that he believes are by and large darker skinned than he is, that he cakes on an extra layer of orange, in fact, I don't know what that is, Cheeto diarrhea, his bronzer that he puts on an extra slather of it. You're not taking crazy pills. That's obviously what he does, and it's super fucking weird.
Platícanos de tu pregunta, Daniel.
Good evening, Mr. President. As a first-generation college graduate, I had to work multiple jobs while studying full-time. The reason that being is because my family could not provide financial assistance while I was attending college. The high cost of housing led me to sleep in my car while I was attending college in a rural area. Despite my degree, I'm currently working as a delivery driver. My question to you is, how do you plan to create real job opportunities for recent graduates like myself?
What is your degree in? Because we've got to know if it's a degree where that's even a possibility. Kind of helpful. I'm just saying. And it would help us get a ballpark started. But it sounds like one of the setup questions.
It's a great question, and a lot of
It's so good.
people ask that question because the job opportunities, the good ones, are not there under this administration.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. All the college degree holding workers in the country, the white collar folks, are all having their jobs taken by mentally ill South Americans and people from the Congo who don't speak a language anyone recognizes. All these recent college graduates losing their jobs to like cartel guys with neck tattoos. I got 9 spiders here for everybody that I killed that was under the age of 2. Like, such an asshole.
We are going to bring companies in through a system of taxes, positive, we call it positive taxation.
It's great. Yep. Tell that. Yeah. Beats it way better than opportunity economy. I think you should run with hashtag positive taxation. Excellent. Yeah. Fuck, you make a t-shirt with your mugshot and positive taxation. It'll be a fucking winner. You should put that on your little Trump coins you sell.
We are going to bring companies in at a level that you've never seen in this country before. I was doing it in my administration, and then what we did, and nobody's ever seen what we're doing. A combination.
You're right. No one's ever seen it, for good reason.
Of taxes, tariffs, and incentives. Companies are going to be coming into our country.
Yeah, nobody's ever done taxes, tariffs, and incentives in general to grow, expand, or raise the economy. No one's ever thought of using those three things in varying amounts. Motherfucker.
Car companies and many, that's for the manufacture of cars. They'll be flowing into our country like never before. You need jobs, and that's what you have to do.
Right, yeah, he just got and it's good that you brought that up because he got a degree in auto plant. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't even know what he does. Ask. This is, I mean, again, simple for our future politicians out there. If you don't mind me asking, and you don't have to say if you don't want to, but what were you studying? What field are you trying to get into? Because that's specific to the things that we're doing, and I might address a different thing that we're doing so that, you know, I could speak directly to what you're doing, and then I'll speak more generally. Right? Wouldn't you be able to do that if you had great, I mean, it's taxes, it's tariffs, it's plans, and the farmer's doing great, and Hannibal Lecter.
Again, we also have to get prices down. When prices come down, companies will be able to afford to open up again. A lot of companies...
Yeah, we'd love to bring on another accountant, Sam, but it's the cost of bacon. I'm sorry, my friend. It's you or bacon.
Over the last 3 years, 3.5 years, have closed up. Companies that would have hired you are not even here anymore. We have had a terrible...
What, hired him for what? Hired him doing what? What would they have hired him to do? Maybe that's the one industry. Maybe he went into like chip fabrication and oh my God, dude, guess what? Get ready to move to Arizona.
President and vice president in terms of keeping small businesses going. We want small businesses, which are very, very important. It's actually they employ more. They are bigger than big businesses as a whole, and we want them taken care of.
As a whole.
But we're going to bring companies back into our country. We've lost so many companies back into our country.
Like what? Besides like Carrier and Foxconn?
At a level that we haven't seen before, and you're going to get a lot of...
This guy's totally buying it. You can see him just like he feels more at ease.
Jobs. You're not going to be looking at one job. You're going to be looking at a job that you want, because you...
This is so lame.
You don't want to just take a job. You want to take a job that's a job. I want to be with that company for 25 years or longer. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have your choice. Right now,
That's called a career, dummy. And I don't know why you're allergic to thinking that Hispanic people and black people can have careers. That's what that jobs bullshit is about, by the way. When he goes black jobs, he means that black people do things you call a job. They don't have careers.
Going around, you can just get a job even if you don't want it. You need it.
Yeah, just sick of it. I got another job today. Damn it.
You're going to have your choice very soon. If I'm elected president, you're going to have a choice between lots of different companies, and you'll match it out with pay and with really very important, just as important as pay is you have to love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, having a job is brutal. So
oh, God.
Congratulations on your degree. That's a big achievement. That really is a great thing. It's great that you did it. You will put that to use very soon.
You don't even know what he does. You don't even know what he does. Hey, asshole, what if, hear me out on this one. What if he went to law school and he wants to specialize in helping to adjudicate asylum cases? What about that? Maybe, possibly. But do you think he'll have multiple opportunities to choose from? Shit.
When I'm elected president. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel, and congratulations.
He feels much better. That is a guy who got his question answered. Psst, dude, go over to the Harris rally and to tell you about helping you buy your first house, and then apprenticeships through unions, which can help you expand into whatever your job is beyond just what you learned in school, pilot programs, that kind of stuff. Some of you actually gives a shit. I don't know.
On that degree. Our next question comes from Natalie Martinez. She's 21 years old. She lives here in South Florida with her family. Natalie Martinez, 21 años. Vive aquí en el sur de la Florida con su familia. Adelante, Natalie.
Hola, expresidente Trump. Soy una estudiante universitaria.
Hello. Thank you very much. All right. I got to say, he's looking worse as this goes on. I think the Spanish accent or even the language itself may indeed be his kryptonite more than any other thing. Because, honest to God, I have lately said, and I stand by this, that he looks like Pat Robertson fucked a circus peanut. And I rest my case.
President Trump, I am in university.
Participé en una competencia sobre la deuda nacional y por eso me preocupa mucho.
I participated recently on a competition on the national debt, and that has gotten me very worried.
La deuda nacional ya está en $35 trillion y no para.
The national debt right now is $35 trillion, and it does not stop there.
Mi pregunta para ustedes, ¿qué haría su administración para reducirla, junto con el interés que pagamos para la deuda?
He's going to drill, baby, drill and sell the oil, apparently, after he nationalizes it. There's something.
Question for you tonight is, what will you do to improve it, to reduce the debt, and also to pay alongside its...
I already said liquid gold. Don't you realize tariff liquid gold does everything? This will bring him into tariffs because he's already said liquid
interests.
gold.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good question. So we do. We have record national debt. We've never had anything
By the way, he's responsible for a fucking third of it.
like it before. We were getting ready to start paying down debt, and then
Yeah, getting ready. Yeah, you got to stretch out first. You can't just start paying down debt. You got to, warm up. You don't want to throw something out while you're paying down the debt. We're going to ease into it, over by his plan 3 decades.
then we got hit with a thing called COVID, or the China virus, and that had to be the focus. And we needed to help businesses stay in business. And if we didn't do the job we did, Linda McMahon did a great job, Small Business Association. If we didn't do the job that we did, you wouldn't
Administration.
have any companies right. You would have been in a depression like in 1929. And we did a great job in keeping it all going. We ended up where the stocks were higher despite all of the COVID China virus that came into our country.
Right, because Joe Biden won and everybody was like, phew, no more of this asshole. You do realize that from November you thought you were going to win, but everybody else was like, yeah, he's fucking done.
The stocks, when I handed over, the stocks were higher than they were previous to the...
Yeah. Yeah, because we'd made it through January 6th and Joe Biden was being sworn in. Yeah, we know. People were, we were like, oh, good. Fuck this guy.
COVID coming in. So we had to focus on that, obviously, but we had the best economy that we've ever had. We're going to have that again.
Again, gibberish.
What's going to solve the problem is growth. It's a thing called growth that nobody even talks.
Yeah, nobody talks about growth. It's a thing called growth. We're going to grow so big that our debt's going to be, in comparison to what we make, so fucking little that it's just going to disappear. I was like I have something in this hand and that's so interesting. You're like, what did I have over here? I don't remember.
Talks about from the Democrat standpoint because they don't know about growth. But we're going to bring...
Yeah, they're only responsible for 50 out of the 51 million jobs created since 1990. And the only economic growth that has occurred under American presidents in the last 35 fucking years has happened under Democrats. We have no idea. Growth? What's that? Obviously, Trump knows a lot about growths. It's something he has lanced.
Bring companies in. We're going to bring tremendous business to our country. And that's going to solve that. Also, waste, fraud, and abuse. And we have Elon Musk, who's a fantastic guy and a fantastic...
He's an asshole.
Fantastic genius. He's a genius at a lot of things, but he's a great business...
Oh, yeah? Is he? He's a genius at a lot of things?
Business person. Also, in addition to sending rockets, you saw his rocket come down the other day and land. The way it landed was so incredible. Nobody had ever seen anything like that. But Elon called me and spent a lot of time. He endorsed me.
This guy is on deck. This guy. By the way, I started earlier today because I'm trying to chip away at some of the stuff I didn't get to cover. So expect marathon programming for the next couple days. I'm just saying. I'm going to drop out at like 10 at 2:50 my time because I have family FaceTime at 3, and then I will be back on right after that at like 4 at my 4 o'clock time, like the normal show on Thursday. Just letting you know. So we'll pick up where we left off. Wherever I'm here, go have a snack and come back.
Totally endorsed. He said if Trump doesn't win, our country may be finished. That's a pretty strong endorsement from a truly brilliant guy. But we're putting...
Oh, yeah? Based on what? Brilliant what? What was his big brilliant move? To be born to apartheid wealth? Born into apartheid wealth?
Him in charge. He wants to do this so badly of cost cutting, bringing costs down so that it won't affect the people, but the waste and abuse in this country, the fraud in this country is massive.
Yeah, we know. We had I don't know if you know this. We had a former president who was found guilty of like 34 counts of fraud. He's like a fucking crook, this guy. This is a tremendous amount. I mean, there's less, obviously, because as soon as he gets sentenced in late November, that'll be, like, just take that piece off the fucking play field. You know what I'm saying? Just take it off the board. Oh, hey, it's you.
And he and his team are going to work on that. We're going to get it down.
His team. Yeah, Elon, Vlad, Jinping.
And we're going to start paying off debt. But the key is growth. We have to grow the country. Keep the debt the same and then bring it down and grow the country. And we'll be stronger.
Keep the debt the same and grow the country. What'd I tell you?
Stronger than ever. You elect me president, we're going to be stronger than ever. That's what I do. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't think she's buying it. And I also think this lady is on the fence as well. This fella looks like his son snuck in after 11:30 and is feeding him a raft of bullshit about his friend's car breaking down. And this lady is regretting this trip entirely.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Natalie. President Trump, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more questions from undecided Latino voters. Una breve pausa, ya regresamos con...
Wait, these are undecided Latino voters? This is who we're dealing with? This is the allegedly? Okay. Oh, and then they go to here, and they take a break, and they go back to thing, and then they go back to the, and we jump back in. Ladies and gentlemen. By the way, hit that like, subscribe, give a thumbs up to the show. If you're on Facebook, give me an angry emoji if you could. If you're on Twitch, any emoji is good. Just a flurry of them would be lovely. Oh, we're back. Here he is, Mr. Flatulence. He dreams of this.
Estamos de regreso en este encuentro histórico entre votantes latinos y el expresidente Donald Trump. And we're back, President Trump. Our next question comes from Guadalupe Ramirez. She's a mother of 3. Her parents were born in Mexico and benefited from the Bracero program in the 1980s and became citizens.
Oh, dear. It's very dangerous, you know. They're saying the bad word, you know. It's basically letting them in with that Ronald Reagan fellow. He allowed them all to stay. Remember that? It was very bad.
Adelante con tu pregunta.
It's the thing Republicans pretend to hate now.
Lupe, madre de 3, tus padres se beneficiaron del programa Bracero.
Sí, un poquito antes de los 80s, un par de décadas antes.
Before the 80s then.
Buenas noches, señor expresidente.
And by the way, Señor ex-presidente. That's why he's still smiling, by the way. They're all calling him ex-presidente. It's pretty great, I gotta say. And that picked up I think the first question might have skipped it, and the other dude who went to college didn't do it. But from this point on, I'm fairly certain everybody calls him ex-presidente, and he never catches on.
Yo vivo en los suburbios de Chicago y a diario yo veo las consecuencias del flujo.
She lives in Streamwood, Illinois, in Chicago. She was born in Chicago. Awesome. We like her already. And she's 2 years younger than I am.
Migratorio que ha ocurrido en
She looks fantastic.
estos últimos años.
Good evening, Mr. President. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. Daily, I see the consequences of the migration flow.
¿Cuál es su plan para una reforma migratoria?
What is your plan for an immigration reform?
Y quisiera preguntarle, ¿por qué usó su influencia sobre los legisladores republicanos para que no respaldaran la propuesta que hubiese brindado refuerzos a la frontera?
And I also would like to ask you why you used your influence to ask the Republican legislators to not back up the strengthening of our border through the proposal.
You like strong borders, so do I. And we have them. We had the strongest border we've ever had.
We do? We have them? Oh, good. Well, that answers that question. I guess we can shut this whole thing down. Turn the lights off, everybody. We're done. Okay.
In the recorded history of our country.
Which is also silly. No, we didn't.
We had...
Oh, well, unless you count COVID, where no one was moving because everyone was afraid that wherever they were going, there might be more cases than where they were, which is exactly what was happening in Mexico.
4 years ago, we had a border that was great. And again, people were coming in, but...
Thanks, COVID.
But they were coming in through a legal process. They were great people coming into our country. And when you say Chicago, immediately we have to think about the crime because it's so dangerous in Chicago. And some of these people came from...
She lives in a suburb. She's fine.
Other countries. Many of them came from other countries. So what we're going to...
Oh, what? Other countries? Should there be... I think we should outlaw other countries. Yes.
Do is we have to be much tougher on crime. The Democrats are weak. Don't forget, the Democrats run Chicago. They have a mayor from Chicago. They have a...
Yeah, that is true. The Chicago mayor is from Chicago. I will say that. That is, I mean, when you're right, you're right.
Terrible. They have a governor who's horrible. Pritzker, he's a horrible governor. That's the state of Illinois.
I see. Governors do states. I see. She might not know that because she lives in the suburbs of Chicago and was born there.
He's horrible. And they're very weak on crime. You want to make sure that you're not attacked, you're not mugged, you're not shot. Chicago's a very dangerous city right now. It's a great city potentially, but right now it's a very dangerous city. And we're working on that, but we have Democrats running it. Everything the Democrats run is bad.
Except, I guess, currently the media, the stock market, the tech industry, since Democrats have control of big tech, and they do what we say. We now have AI and the greatest advancements in computing since Moore's law came into existence. But I would say print media is coming back as well. But we're certainly doing very well in the streaming services.
25 cities, they're all run by Democrats, and they're crime-ridden.
Oh, right. You mean the biggest cities in the country with the biggest economies that pay for all the red states? You mean those? You mean the engine that runs, you know, the cities that have all the crime, but they also have all the coffee and sex and theaters and fucking parks and amusement parks and fucking zoos. Yeah, fucking zoos.
And crime-infested cities. The Republicans running, they don't have the same problem because we have law and order.
Because they barely have any people?
Order, we have it the way you need it. You need to be safe. You want to walk across the street for a loaf of bread. You want to...
Yeah. Obviously, that's what you do, because we all live in a cartoon from Electric Company and Sesame Street, I guess.
Be able to walk and not get shot or not get mugged or anything else. So we're going to bring that back. I'm bringing a lot back to help the Democrat mayors, where they have them, run their cities better, because they can't run their cities. They're crime infested, and Chicago's an example of it. And we're going to make it good. As far as the...
Yeah, by the way, she lives in a suburb. She's fine.
Border. We want to have a strong border, and we want people to come in, and that's what we had. Remember, we had the strongest border in history, and we had the best economy in history. Two things.
Two lies. No, we didn't. And you don't get credit for the border during COVID, but the economy outside of COVID. You were either president the whole fucking time or you weren't, asshole.
I had. And I said, that's pretty good. We also
Is that what you said?
got into no wars. I didn't get into any wars. I'm the first president.
You bombed a base in Syria. You were constantly, you were going to destroy the caliphate of ISIS, which is not a country.
President in 84 years that never got into a war, but I...
By the way, we're not in a war either. Biden hasn't started any new wars. Just like we're not on the hook if Russia attacks Ukraine. We're not on the hook if Hamas attacks Israel. We can defend these folks, but if you're saying we should not defend Israel, then fucking say so.
I beat ISIS, and we beat them in...
I mean, I know he doesn't think we should defend Ukraine, so...
2 months instead of, I guess they told me it was going to take years, like 5 years.
Oh, yeah, that's only if you don't want to kill any civilians or children, which is obviously bullshit, right?
I did it in 2 months. Our military is incredible. I rebuilt the military. But remember these two things. I had the strongest border in the history of our...
This is the worst Jedi mind trick ever. What, do you think you're some kind of Jedi or something?
Country, and I had the best economy in the history of our country. And I had no inflation. No inflation.
Yeah, you did. If you had no inflation, you'd have stagnation. You have to have some. Otherwise, money doesn't get loaned into existence. Businesses don't expand. Of course you have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
That was not an answer to her question, by the way, which I barely remember, but essentially it was like, what are you going to do? Why did you block the border bill? Was the biggest chunk of her
Guadalupe,
question.
thank you, President Trump. Our next question comes from Arizona, a key state in the upcoming election. José Saralegui lives right on the border with Mexico. José Saralegui, de la frontera de Sonora y Arizona. Una pregunta para el presidente Trump. Adelante.
So more than likely, this guy has smoked weed with Doug Stanhope. So I look forward to his question.
Thank you.
Soy un republicano, registrado republicano, pero en este momento me encuentro indeciso.
Good evening, President Trump. I am a Republican. I am a registered Republican, but at this time I am undecided.
I am undecided. O'Hara's treachery has disgraced us. What were you doing when you attacked my guards last night? Wasn't me. Man, you come right out of a comic book.
En la campaña se han utilizado muchas teorías de conspiración.
During the campaign, there has been some conspiracy theories in use.
Le doy un ejemplo si me permite.
If you allow me, I would like to give an example of it.
Las autoridades de Springfield, Ohio, han aclarado una y otra vez que los haitianos no se están comiendo los perros ni los gatos de sus gentes.
People are saying people in Springfield, Ohio are eating pets and cats.
Authorities in Springfield, Ohio have more than one time clarified that the Haitians are not eating their cats and their dogs.
Sin embargo, usted les quiere revocar su permiso que tienen para residir legalmente en este país.
Nonetheless, you want to revoke the permit they have to legally reside in this country.
Mi pregunta con todo respeto es si usted verdaderamente cree que estas personas se comen las mascotas de la gente.
My question to you very respectfully is, do you really believe that these people are eating the people's pets?
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And this was just reported. I was just saying what was reported. That's been reported.
You chicken shit. Yeah, by the way, great question, well phrased and the like. And Trump's whole thing is, you know how Trump does this? Yeah, he is turning red. He's embarrassed. This whole thing that Trump does with, he came very highly recommended. But, very recommended. All the best scholars told me that, everybody wanted Roe v. Wade terminated, right? That shit. That is him passing the buck. This is another version of, it's not my fault. I read it. It's not my fault I read it and regurgitated it. What do you expect me to do? I see it on the internet and I just say it. Wait, what, you want me to vet this shit?
Reported, and eating other things too that they're not supposed to be. But this is.
Yeah, the stop signs, fire hydrants. They're like billy goats, I guess. They'll just eat tin cans.
All I do is report. I have not. I was there. I'm going to be there, and we're going to take a look, and I'll give you a full report.
He was not there. He's going to be there. He was not there.
When I do, but that's been in the newspapers and reported pretty broadly. I will say this.
No, it has not.
As far as Springfield is concerned, because I do know that situation. You have a city of 52,000 people, and they've added almost 30,000 migrants into the city. If you were a person...
Yeah, because their infrastructure around there was getting an enormous fucking facelift, and they don't have the workers to cover it. They never would. And these people have families too. They're not just there like you want to bitch about loner dudes being everywhere, but the reason there's 32,000 of them is because it's family units. You fucking creep.
That lived there. If you lived in Springfield, Ohio, and all of a sudden you couldn't get into a hospital, you couldn't get your children into a school.
No one has had that problem. Not a fucking one. Nobody is being turned away from a hospital or a fucking school in Springfield. Nobody. What are you talking about?
You wouldn't be able to buy groceries. You could no longer pay the rent because the government's paying rent. Any of that, if any of that happened, it would be a disaster for you, and you wouldn't be happy. We want to make our...
Also, the government's paying the rent. No, it isn't. These people work. They have jobs. They pay their own rent.
People safe and secure, and we want to make them happy. But Springfield, Ohio is a perfect example. You have a town, a beautiful little town with no problems. All of a sudden, they have 30...
By the way, as it turns out, this guy's making his decision as this man speaks. You can tell.
32,000 people dropped into the town, most of whom don't speak the language, most of whom...
Fuck you, dude. You're talking to somebody through a translator. This dude's a fucking engineer. Yeah, I gotta go in a second. This guy's an engineer. You asshole. He's an engineer. God damn.
Don't speak the language at all. And what they're doing is they're looking all over for interpreters. Well, I mean, I think you can't just...
What do you mean? French?
Destroy our country. It's maybe some people disagree with me, but you can't put in a very short period of time 32,000 people into a 50,000 people town and expect things to go well.
Into a 50,000 people town.
It's a disaster. It's a total disaster. And the people that live there are, you know, they want to leave, they want to move, because if you read about it or talk to them, people want to move, they want to leave because they've never had anything like this. And we can't let that happen to our towns.
Why are they moving? We've already established no one's cat and dog is getting eaten. Is it just because the people are black? Is that what it is? It's the voodoo, isn't it? It's probably the voodoo.
In our cities and our country, just can't let it happen. It's not sustainable. I appreciate the question. Thank you. I hope you vote for a Republican.
Gracias.
He's not going to. I guarantee it. Now, on that note, I'm going to take a pause, chat, if you don't mind. I'll be back at 4 o'clock at my regular time. I got to go do my family FaceTime that I do every Thursday, which is why the show is later on Thursdays. So I will be back at 4 o'clock at the regular time. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Take care of yourselves. We'll pick up where we left off, and then we're going to go on with the what was the other one? Trump on valuetainment. And then there's a couple of clips that I have too of people like there's the Harris Faulkner thing. Like, I've got a lot to cover, so we'll make our way through as much of it as we can. All right, much love, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. It's the greatest live stream in the world. It's Hal Sparks Maker Worldwide. I am indeed Hal Sparks, and I shall be for the rest of the evening. As for tomorrow, we just don't know. I've been thinking about it, and I I have to say I'm enjoying being Hal Sparks. Obviously, if you listen to the QAnons, you know by now that I am a lizard from the planet Centuria Fongicates. My way of speaking, it sounds different in my language than it does in yours. But I've been living in this guy's skin for a little while, and I gotta say, it's pretty cozy. Luckily, I'm very, very small, so it's roomy in here. Yes, I'm a Zandozan. That's right, Ranger Gooseman. So, yes, hello. Allegedly, Hal says hello. I am Hal Sparks, and I will be Hal Sparks for all your Hal Sparks needs for the near future. Now, when I last left you, before family took precedent over everything else, chat room, we were exploring the world of Donald Trump going to Noticias Univision, a Univision notice, something, Nueva News situation from, he was taking questions. And it was just starting to get spicy. And so we go there now. Welcome to Space Station Comms Link. This is where we will get to. Lots of actors are tiny. No, it's not that we're tiny. It's that we have giant heads. It makes us look better on film. Apparently that's Dustin Hoffman's secret. She's an enormous melon. Heed, pants, knee. All right, now, and by the way, I have to check, because sometimes I plug this thing in, and sometimes it works, and other times I just don't know, and it's hard to say. Skip for now. Proceed anyways. Into your untested. Hey, it works. Look at that. Yeah. Yay. You guys heard that, right? Not just me. Moon River. Fabulous. We're back. It's so nice when, because I don't have the best words.
I know words. I have the best words.
He's got them, but I do not. I say things like origins.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges.
Which just does not have that kind of poetic flair. All right, now, let's go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We begin again where we left off. They're just about to go to break, and they'll come back from the break.
Quick break again, and we'll be right back.
By the way, Univision just slapping with the prog metal break music, not fucking around. Just, what are there, like 9 guitar tracks in that? Just in the lead alone? I'm not even talking about the rhythm bed. Good Lord. All right, here we go. Back to answering questions that Trump can't materially comprehend in any way.
And our audience, and as you know, the topics we have touched upon, employment.
Oh, I know.
And health, immigration. Ramiro Gonzalez has a question.
Oh, this guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to witness a moment of glory. The birth of a new hero. The origin story. Sorry, not origin. I keep using that word.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges.
Right, the oranges story of this fella. By the way, neck tattoo, I think. I don't think that's just a stain from his collar. Okay, so this guy allegedly, Republican voters saying, hey, you lost my vote with your bullshit on Jan 6. Win it back, buddy. This is your shot.
For Donald Trump, as you know, Florida got hit with 2 major hurricanes in the last 2 weeks. Por favor, Ramiro.
Buenas noches, Señor Trump.
Also, did they touch him up during the break and make him more orange? Good fucking Lord.
2 major hurricanes in the last 2 weeks.
Look, what is happening? Either that or they're trying to make his tie look as red as possible and the contrast is all fucked up. Also, blend, motherfucker, blend.
Por favor, Ramiro.
Buenas noches, Señor Trump. Good evening, Mr. Trump.
Buenas noches. That means good evening. Thank you. Thank you for the good evening. Thank you for wishing me a buenas. Some would even say noches. Thank you for putting the buenos in my noches.
Okay. I am a Republican, no longer registered, though.
So this would be a Haley Republican or somebody who's just fucking embarrassed, and rightly so. This is a man with standards. Politically, we probably would disagree on some policies, but overall, he might have just been suckered by the fake Butch Trump bullshit. We'll see. How do I put this? You, sir, are a fucking asshole.
I want to give you the opportunity to try to win back my vote. Okay. Your, I'd say, action and maybe inaction during your presidency and the last few years sort of, was a little disturbing to me. What happened during January 6th and the fact that, you waited so long to take action while your supporters were attacking the Capitol. Coronavirus, I thought the public was misled during coronavirus, and that many more lives could have been saved if we would have been informed better. And also people in your administration who don't support you. I'm curious how people so close to you and your administration no longer want to support you, so why would I want to support you? If you would answer these questions for me, I would really appreciate it and give you the opportunity. There's, your own vice president doesn't want to support you now.
Thank you, Ramiro.
So the people that don't support a very small portion, we have a tremendous.
Okay. No. You can't choose everybody that works in the administration. You can't call in an airstrike from the deep state and go, a bunch of people didn't say they hate me, so there must be for me. They still work in government with Biden. They were there under Obama. Like, it's horseshit. Like, he wants the deep state to be his fucking cover. The people he picked, the people he chose, the vast majority of them, 98% of the people that he actually got positions for, not just like his hangers-on, like Stephen Miller and other folks, the people he actually got in his cabinet, in his joint chiefs, his chief of staff, his lawyers, like everybody who actually had to work with him fucking can't stand the dude, doesn't trust him, wouldn't let him borrow their car, much less babysit their kids or something genuinely important. That, like, you don't get to just claim that there are millions of, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers and they haven't all come out against you.
It's about 97% of the people in the administration support me.
Not even close. It's the exact opposite.
But because it's me, somebody doesn't support, they get a little publicity.
No. The people with names that you appointed, you gave them their Jesus Christ. Yeah, 41 out of 44. Like, the closest people. The people that aren't coming out against him are the people who are like, I didn't hear anything about that. I work in a basement.
The vice president, I disagree with him on what he did. I totally.
What did he do? Not get hanged?
Disagreed with him on what he did. Very importantly, you had hundreds of thousands of people.
Now, this dude is seriously giving me what? Vibe. I'm getting a little bit of, like, this guy, the De Niro that he shows his kids. Fuck are you doing? Huh? What are you talking about? Huh? What kind of bullshit is this? You fucking what? What?
People come to Washington. They didn't come because of me. They came because of the election. They thought
No, they came because you told them you had won the election and you ginned them up. You said, come on January 6th. It'll be wild.
The election was a rigged election, and that's why they came. Some of those people went down to the Capitol. I said, peacefully and patriotically.
Bullshit. Early in the speech, he said peacefully and patriotically. It was in the actual remarks. And then the rest of the speech, he's like, you're going to have to fight like hell or you're not going to have a country left. And if Mike Pence doesn't have the strength to do it, we're going to have to show him what strength looks like. And shit like that. Like, the whole walk down there peacefully and patriotically. What you do when you get there, though, that's between you and me. Which effectively said it like, sneak up on them. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes.
Nothing done wrong at all. Nothing done wrong.
At all, nothing done wrong. What he means is, this is the perfect call nonsense. I didn't say it. in a way that I can be legally charged, I think. That's what he means. On his part. It doesn't mean nothing done wrong by the people that went up there. He means by him. Those people who went up there and did that shit, they're on their fucking own. They were just mad about the election. Yeah. By the way, hit the like, share the show. It's a brand new episode, so if you haven't hit that like yet, please do so. It helps us out in the algorithm, and it boosts us up and makes the maggots see us.
And action was taken, strong action. Ashley
This lady.
Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. There were no...
That's my favorite. This lady, Ashley Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. Yeah, that makes sense. But like I said, what did I tell you early on? In the beginning, you see a lot of hands like this. By this point in it, which is, I mean, he's only halfway through. He's about 30 minutes in. Everybody's like, fuck you. The body language in this entire room is like they're fucking over it. Okay, back this up.
Taken strong action. Ashley Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. There were no guns down there. We didn't have guns.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. Okay. First of all, may I? This is Ashley Babbitt's knife. I would like to say this is the this is the knife that Ashley Babbitt had in her bag. Ashley Babbitt was also intending to participate with a mob that was going to hang Mike Pence. She was there with a group of people that were there to hang Mike Pence. Now, this is a knife that'll get the job done if you need to kill somebody. It's also easy to sneak around. It's also good if you're trying to, cut rope for gallows and the like. You see? Okay. She had this on her. Try entering a federal building with a knife. Any size, but this one. Okay? This one's just fine. Don't do it. I'm just telling you. Okay. The other thing is guns on January 6th. There were a variety of weapons in the crowd, blah, blah, blah. Let's see if I can find the guy firing his gun at the thing. Where's the guy? Yeah. The dude who fired his gun into... Yeah. So this, I'll show you this. This guy, see this guy right here with the gas mask on and the military backpack and stuff? It was just, he had it in his car. Everybody's got just a don't tread on me flag and a fucking flak vest and a military backpack with God knows what in it and gas, a full-on military gas mask. This guy, Capitol rioter who was armed with a gun on January 6th, found guilty on all charges. Christopher Alberts had a gun on his hip when he charged up the stairs of the Capitol on January 6th, and he later yelled at police officers before he was arrested. That would be just one of the guns recovered. Everybody does this whole, there were no guns recovered. There were plenty of guns recovered. That was just one of them. Let's see. Guy firing gun Jan 6th. Yeah, here you go. How about this guy? Trump supporter charged with firing a gun during the January 6th Capitol attack. That's this guy. There's his gun, by the way. Does anybody think he's the only one with a gun? And I think they might even... Yeah, that's him again. And there he is on the front of the line. There he is. And that's him firing the gun into the air. This is January 6th footage. That would be a gun. That would be smoke. That would be a gun being fired in the air. It took me all of about 12 seconds to find two guns. Fuck Donald Trump and his fucking bullshit. Just saying.
The others had guns, but we didn't have guns. And
yeah, they that guy had a gun. That guy fired a gun. That guy was arrested and sentenced and went to jail for having a gun. Trump supporter charged with firing a gun during Jan 6 attack. Let's see. There we go. Trump supporter there. The Jan 6 footage appears to show a rider firing a gun in the air. Yeah, John Banuelos. What to know about the January 6th shooter arrested? Hold on. 2 2 gunshots, a fatal stabbing, and the mystery of a man at the Capitol riot. Outside the U.S. Capitol, he wore a red coat. He wore a red coat and he held a gun. It was January 6, 2021, and the gunman stood on scaffold above the West Plaza. Oh dear, it was a flag waving mob bugging the county line and raised the 38 revolver towards the sky, and he pulled the trigger. Never shot his eye. Oh, the guy with the gun at the Capitol. All right. This is a serious topic. I apologize. It was wrong of me to never go full Elvis when you're talking about guns. Not a good idea. Pulled the trigger twice, shot. The gunshots made a dull cracking. The sound in the winter afternoon. Below him, a few riders seemed to cheer faintly in response. The man yelled something. The crowd waving a gun in his left hand. Then he put it away, climbed down the scaffold, and disappeared. His name was John Banuelos. According to federal authorities, despite having evidence that he brought a gun to the riot, the FBI did not arrest him until 3 years later. No, this is why there's this whole they didn't find any guns at the thing. They didn't find any guns at the Capitol. Nobody was busted with a gun that day. Yeah, because they arrested him later using the footage that they filmed themselves like fucking assholes. Still at large, July 2021, when he took part in a fight in Salt Lake City that left another man dead. Adorable. No responsible gun owner would watch the video of January 6th and say, that was okay to do that. As I explored the mysteries of Banuelos and his many brushes with the justice system, I reached out to the family of Christopher Sen, the 19-year-old who was killed by Banuelos in an incident the authorities call self-defense. I sent a text message to Victoria Thomas, a retired school principal who took in Sen as a foster child and treated him like her son. She wrote back almost immediately. Chris did not deserve to be killed, and no one should get away with killing anyone, but John got away with it and probably will hurt someone else. I found police and court records that show a startling pattern involving Banuelos. He's accused of violent crime. He's arrested. Sometimes witnesses fail to appear in court. Sometimes the charges are dropped for other reasons not explained in court dockets. Sometimes he's found guilty and sentenced to probation or supervision. One way or another, he goes free, and the cycle begins again. Over the years, according to reports I obtained, various people made the following accusations against Banuelos. He kicked and punched someone who was waiting for a school bus. He tried to push someone out of a moving vehicle. He dragged a woman out of a car by her hair. He bit a boy on the ear. He trespassed in the apartment of a woman who came home to find him there, along with a Doberman pinscher. He told his girlfriend he would beat her if she called the police. None of these cases resulted in jail or prison because we have a two-tiered justice system that torments Trump fans. A rap sheet from the Chicago Police Department lists 20 of his arrests in Illinois, most of them for misdemeanors. Only one jail sentence of 90 days after he fled from a police officer in a motor vehicle. He's 39. He struggled with homelessness and substance abuse. 23 police report had been admitted to a hospital psychiatric unit for undisclosed reasons. But the most striking part of the story unfolded over 180 days in 2021, from January 6th to Independence Day. In those days after the gunfire at the Capitol, both local and federal authorities had informed that they might have diverted Banuelos from Liberty Park in Salt Lake City and away from his fateful meeting with Chris Sen. Chris Sen was a survivor until the day he met John Banuelos. Long after Chris was gone, his friend remembered the frozen mouse. The story hinted at Chris's tragic relationship with the world. They were boys who met in a foster home. Chris would be jarring like that. Okay, he said, he survived as a little boy. His body hinted at something frightening. There were scars on his back, strange marks on his legs. This is the Chris Sen kid that was stabbed. That's him, I guess. Yeah, Christopher Sen was killed in July 2021 during an altercation with Banuelos. He was 19 years old. Banuelos is 39 at this point. Chris was one of the people the story grows long after they're gone. When we met for breakfast, Victoria Thomas, her husband Randall, and their grown-up daughter Talisha did their best to hold it together while sharing their favorite memories of Chris. I loved every minute I had with Chris, every minute. We got frustrated and scared, so you run, hit and bite, and then the school kicks you out, and the school district won't let you return. There's stuff about his troubled past. And then Banuelos fell off of law enforcement's radar until he reappeared as a rioter on January 6th. This is the guy who brought a gun. We didn't have any guns. We were not violent. We didn't do any violent things. We just showed up with guns and fired them into the air.
When I say we, these are people that walked down. This was a tiny percentage of the overall, which no.
by the way, one of the reasons Trump bullshits about the size of his crowd on that day was so that the group that hit the Capitol looks smaller by comparison. He keeps talking about like there was a fucking million people there. There were not. Does anyone believe that if there was a crowd the size he was talking about, that it was just overwhelming? Holy shit. There are so many people here that they didn't take pictures of it? That they just managed not to have coverage of it at all? They just didn't. Nobody had a drone. Nobody had, could take a picture from a tall building nearby. That he wouldn't have people out there. Right. It's about 53,000. Right. Max. That was it. The sprawling number. It was probably closer to 40. That was the biggest number they gave was 53. Not anywhere near the number he says it is. He was saying like a fucking million people. A huge percentage. About 8,000 of those people proceeded towards the Capitol. About 3,000 of them went in and forced their way through. About 2,000 remained on the steps at some particular point and got diverted. Yeah, 30,000. DC police said 30,000. Yeah, it was nowhere near. Otherwise, he'd have a giant picture. But the point is, at that point, if it's 30,000, let's say the DC police number is 30,000 and they hold to that. That means 10% of them attack the Capitol violently. And another 5% were there assisting or pushing through with the intent to like hold spaces in there. They weren't there to hang anybody or beat anybody up. But once the door was kicked in, they would gladly walk through it and hold the territory. But he's got to make that number look huge so the people who attack the Capitol look smaller by comparison, like a small percentage.
Nobody sees and nobody shows. But
well, then show it, motherfucker. It was a campaign event. You don't have pictures of it? Why not?
that was a day of love from the standpoint.
A day of love from the standpoint of what?
Point of the millions. It's like hundreds.
That's the best, but like that dude's like head flip is fucking glorious. Love. Watch him. He doesn't even like go upright like love. He does a full like love. That was a windshield wiper move.
But that was a day of love from the standpoint of the millions.
That was like, motherfucker, what? Like, that was everything. Secondly, no, it wasn't. It was a violent, shitty, poorly planned, attempted insurrection by a bunch of maggots, morons, and their idiot leaders who, thank God, are as dumb as this son of a bitch.
It's like hundreds of thousands. It could have been the largest group I've ever spoken before.
Gibberish.
They asked me to speak. I went.
They asked me to speak. Again, this is him passing the buck. He does this every fucking time. Everybody wanted Roe v. Wade. This person came very highly recommended. They asked me to speak. This wasn't even my event. Bullshit. When they were organizing this thing, there was an intention that he would actually lead the marchers down there. But to do that, because he would be doing it as a campaign, as and as a private citizen, effectively, he wouldn't have the power of the presidency for this particular act, because it is effectively like you're a lame duck at that point. But you certainly can't marshal up a small militia on your own without invoking the Insurrection Act, which was partly what they talked about, without setting off some alarm bells. And if they said, I'm gonna lead a bunch of these, I'm gonna have this huge rally, and then I'm gonna lead these fuckers down to the Capitol, you goddamn straight there'd be a ton of like National Guard and police. They would have tripled the number of personnel there, quadrupled it. They have 10 times the number of cops they had that day if they knew he was coming. If they'd gotten a permit and said, we're walking down to the Capitol, they'd have put those gates up. They would have had fucking 3 rows of National Guard guys standing on the stairs protecting the place just in case. And that's why he took it out. He wanted it to be a sneak attack. He knew that if they were prepared, they'd have no fucking shot of making it into the building or doing anything. So he and his people decided, take it out, and you'll say it, you know, the whole, and I'm going to go with you. That was off the cuff, right? Like, you're going to march down there, go down peacefully and patriotically. That's in the teleprompter. But I'm going to go with you is not in the teleprompter for a very specific reason. Both, you know, in terms of the security of the Capitol, in terms of letting them know ahead of time what his plans were, and that he'd have to actually get a permit for a march if he was leading it.
And I spoke, and I used the term peacefully and patriotically. If you look at the Democrats, what they say, you look at Maxine Waters, and you look at Hillary Clinton, and you look at what they say, and they don't put that on. They only put Republicans on. But they couldn't get me because of the fact that I said everything's got to be peaceful and patriotic.
See that? They couldn't get me because I said everything's got to be peaceful and patriotic. Hey, asshole, they're going to get you. Jack Smith is in the process of getting you. None of those phrases make it a get out of jail free card. You instigated what was effectively a riot by telling those people, whether or not you were honest about wanting to go with them, that you were going to go down there with them, that you were going to walk down there too. By doing that, you made a bunch of these assholes think we're with our president. We've basically been deputized.
Patriotic. And we'll see how it all works out, but
I'll tell you how it's going to work out. He's going to fucking jail over it. He's going to be convicted on multiple charges related to this because there is a ton of communications between Mark Meadows and Bannon and Roger Stone and Trump's office, and they're, you know, and Mark Meadows has flipped effectively because he doesn't want to go to jail for a fucking decade over this shit. And so they have all talked about how, like, those guys have talked about how he arranged this part. And that crucial aspect of it, the fact that they were going to put it in the speech, and then they found out they had to get a permit, and if they got a permit, security would be too strong to make it through, so they took it out, and it was meant to be a sneak attack. And the reason he suggested 10,000 soldiers, by the way, is because he believed he could get 10,000 National Guard soldiers and do the Insurrection Act and basically order them all to turn around and take the Capitol. You'd surround the Capitol with 10,000 National Guard troops for God knows why, because again, hindsight being 2020, nobody knew there was going to be a riot that day except the people that intended to carry it out. Right? So if he wanted those people there, where was he going to get those National Guard troops from? Where was he going to get them from? Were they all going to be Maryland? No. He wanted to bring up ones from Texas and all the states that sued Georgia.
I think that we're right now.
Yes, Giuliani's one of them too.
In another election, all I want is honest elections. I'm willing to take any chance. I want honest elections. We need borders and we need honest elections. And if we don't have either of those two things, that's it. We have tremendous loyalty to the Trump administration. Biden, when he lost in Afghanistan, when he looked...
This guy, like, and I feel this dude's furrowed brow right now. We have tremendous loyalty to the Trump administration. Are you talking about the people that I brought up that don't like you anymore? Or are you talking about your fucking mini dipshit militia? The QAnons and that stuff? Because it's not really clear, and I think Trump means both.
Looks so bad. That's why Putin went into Ukraine, in my opinion. He looked and he saw he should have fired every general involved in that. There was a disaster. He should have fired a lot of people because he had the most.
And I gotta say, this is fucking magic. It's just fucking magic. Because look at Trump squirming as this guy is like, I don't think so. Trump never encounters people like this. Certainly not in the news media, and definitely not in his regular life or in his organization. He's at that phase. He's in the Michael Jackson space general, going outfit that when he was wearing it to court. Remember when Michael Jackson showed up at court in his space general outfit? you know that there was an adult somewhere going, Mike, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't get on top of the car, but I wouldn't wear the Space General outfit. It's not the kind of thing. And he was like, I'm not going to let that wear my Space General outfit like a toddler. And so they had to let him wear his Space General outfit to court. And it was terrible for him, right? This is the same kind of shit. Trump is wearing his Space General outfit to court, period. And he's not, and nobody can tell him no, or he'll flip out.
Unsuccessful administration in the history of our country. A disaster, acknowledged. I, again, had the best economy we've ever had. I rebuilt our military. I defeated ISIS. I did things that nobody thought in terms.
Also, ISIS is it was an ISIS-K fighter that killed the soldiers in Afghanistan. And let me say that again for people in the cheap seats. In case we have any maggots or trolls here. Hi, guys. Thanks for being here, by the way. You spread us out through the algorithm like nobody else can. So thanks so much. But it was an ISIS-K suicide bomber that killed our soldiers and wounded our soldiers and killed, 175 Afghans that day. It was an ISIS-K fighter. So he didn't obliterate ISIS. He didn't get rid of ISIS. What they mean is they ended the caliphate that they were trying to build in the Kurdish territories, of Iraq and Syria and that outlying area, that they broke it up. And that had been going on for a long time. And the reason he did it so fast was because he took out all the rules of engagement that would limit the amount of civilian deaths. And so again, this is not even a question. He'd brag about it if you ask him. He'll go, yeah, I took off the ROE. It was Obama put those on. It was slowing everything down. It was also keeping us from printing more terrorists while we got rid of terrorists. That's kind of the reason you care about civilian deaths, even if you don't have a fucking soul, right? But I'd like, just to be abundantly clear, he did not end ISIS. And every time he brings it up, there's got to be a decent amount of the electorate that goes, wasn't it an ISIS-K fighter? ISIS actually blew up Soleimani's funeral in Iran. This asshole doesn't know whose side he's on.
In terms of medical right to try, I got right to try where you could use space age, things that wouldn't be approved for another 5 or 10 years. You were able to use it.
Well, they're space aged, and we haven't entered the space age yet. So maybe one day.
And we saved thousands and thousands of lives. But and
lost a bunch, too, because they're experimental treatments that might not work.
87% of the people in my administration supported me. When you fire somebody, they say bad things. When I fire a John Bolton or when I fire any of these people, he was terrible.
You didn't fire him. Somebody else fired him for you because you didn't have the guts to do it yourself. And I think it was one of those things like he resigned and you said you fired him. I want to actually hold on. Hold on. Yeah, so this is the story of him firing John Bolton. Trump fires John Bolton as a national security advisor. Well, he's no Mike Flynn, right? But announced on Twitter he had asked the national security advisor to resign. Now it happened. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told reporters at a briefing that Trump asked Bolton for his resignation last night, and it was received this morning. Source: Bolton is out because the leaking is what got him. There are a lot of well-documented problems regarding John Bolton, but at the end, the leaking is what got him, according to a source who was talking to President Trump about the former national security advisor, specifically in the president's view, telling reporters things about Camp David summit that made Trump look bad. The part where he wanted to bring the fucking Taliban. There's a lot Trump can take. Leaking is not one. Absolutely. He hates it in a diaper, but it happens all the time. He has been a bureaucratic infighter his whole life, and it finally hurt him, the source said, whatever source that fucking is. Bolton and Mnuchin repeatedly clashed. Again, it's like watching an anaconda fight an alligator. You're like, well, at least I know I can get a head start on whoever wins. While there's been much reporting on tensions between them, blah, 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 many of those issues related to Trade Department actions on sanctions. Mnuchin often felt that Bolton was too heavy-handed in advocating for sanctions, in particular over the administration's policy towards, what do you know, Venezuela. That's right, Steve Mnuchin wanted to go easier on Venezuela, and so did Donald Trump than Bolton did. Weird. It's perhaps also why Mnuchin gratuitously pointed out during Tuesday's briefing that Bolton and Trump had very different views of the Iraq war. But before that, all right. So anyways, you get the point. Dipshittery.
But when I fire people, they go out and say, if I didn't fire people, they wouldn't say it. But you know what? Biden should have fired a lot of people because he had a very unsuccessful administration. And the first thing, the person he should have fired is his vice president because she's absolutely terrible.
Why? What did she not do? Her biggest official duties were literally casting the deciding vote on legislation. What? And again, this dude's like going to give him the other side of the neck in a second. Like, he should have fired his vice president. Dude, you tried to get yours hung, you dumb motherfucker. Do not bring up other administrations and the unity of the ticket.
And I'll tell you, she's in any way fit to be the president of the United States.
Well, she can say the word unfit. She's capable of saying unfit as opposed to in no way fit. She can just say unfit. Why don't you just say while you're at it that she's no way stable or no way hinged?
In fact, she turned on him and they had a coup. They took it over from a president that got 14 million votes. I'm no fan of his, but he got 14 million votes. He won the primary. She was out of the primary. She was the first one to quit.
Hi, asshole. Wrong primary also. You're talking about the last one versus the one where they were running against each other. This time they're on the same ticket. So if he gets those, she gets those because they're already in office. And you can tell this guy's like, I'm looking at someone who is talking out of his ass. This is just look at his face. Bless his heart. Look at his face. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
And she left 22 people. She was the first one out. She never made it to Iowa. And then she comes back and they do a coup. They take it over from him. So that's the way it is. When people don't do that.
That's the way it is. He's still president, though. So it was like a little coup. It was a chicken coup. It was a coup.
Their job, I fire them. And if they say bad things about me, that's okay. But overall, look, we're leading in the polls now. We have an election going on right now. I'm doing.
He's like, wait a minute. I should vote for you because you're leading in the polls. I think you just went down in the polls, buddy.
Really well with Hispanics and.
Fuck me, man. They're right in front of you. You absolute asshole. This is so fucking weird. You can't say we're leading with Hispanics. You're on, it's Univision. You dumb motherfucker. They're there. They're right there. This is so cringy. I'm like, it's making my skin crawl. Fucking hell. The Hispanics love me. Yeah, there's a whole room of them, and they're all vibing against you right now. And they were on the fence. These are undecided, allegedly, undecided voters who are like, nah, I made my decision. Fuck you.
We're doing well pretty much with every group. When people don't do a job, I'm sorry, I get rid of them. And if they want to say bad things, I've never fired somebody that said wonderful things. Sometimes they think about it. But when you let somebody go, even for cause, and I only do for cause, they don't generally say great things. But Biden, never think of it, into the worst administration in the history of our country.
Also, like, dude, it doesn't even fucking come close. Unless you hate low unemployment and a high stock market, rising wages, and the sharpest, best recovery of the G20 after a fucking pandemic we all went through, this whole the worst ever bullshit is so lame. And the only reason he's saying it, let's be completely honest. Why does he keep saying the worst ever? Because that group of historians got together and they listed the presidents from best to worst, and he was dead last. That's why. And again, it might be one of the reasons that during COVID, there were 3 options, kids. Maggots especially. This one's for you, wherever you are. Number 1, COVID was a hoax, and Trump fell for it. That's option number 1. Option number 2, COVID was a trick. It was a disease, but it was relatively harmless, but it was to trick you into getting a vaccine so they could put a chip inside you. In which case, Trump fell for it. He not only got the shot twice, but he also got the monoclonal antibodies. And nobody can explain to me why you can have a chip in a syringe, but you can't put it in a fucking bag that you sit with an IV drip on you for 6 hours. Right? Was it too non-specific about where it goes before it lodges itself in your fucking veins someplace? No sense whatsoever. The third one being, of course, that it was a bioweapon created by the Chinese to attack not just us, but the world. And in that case, Donald Trump was president during the worst bioweapon attack on the United States in our history, in world history. And his response was to sell the people that attacked us the largest order of beef, pork, corn, and soybeans in the history of our country, while Americans were in food lines. There is no fourth option. Which one is it? Which one of those 3 is the least worst for this dipshit?
He never fired one person.
Yeah, he doesn't have to.
And that's disgraceful. And you look at the border. The border has been a disaster.
Title 42. Got better after we got rid of Title 42.
All they had to do is leave my border. I had the safest, most secure border. And
no, COVID did. COVID gave us the safest, most secure border. Of course, it kept a lot of people home, sick or avoiding it because they didn't want to come in contact with people that might be sick during a pandemic and die for a job that they might get, they'd rather die in the line of duty than die on a fucking, ventilator that never comes, right? That would be, I think, part of the reason why they didn't do it. So even then, counting was down, even if people were coming across.
People came in legally. I had the safest border.
Look at the number of people shaking their fucking heads at him. Look at her. She's like,
in the history of our country. All he had to do is leave our people and leave our policies. I had a remain in Mexico policy, worked out with the Mexican government. The head of Mexico, all of them, they were my friends.
Yeah, the head.
Friends. They were good. They were great people.
Yeah, the head of Mexico was his friend, guys. The head of Mexico, the guy who's the head of it, in charge, the person in charge of Mexico, Mr. Mexico. Yeah, the head of Mexico.
It wasn't easy to work it out, but I worked.
No, of course not. They have an accent. They speak Spanish half the time. You're like, I don't trust them even if they do have an interpreter, because how do you know if you can trust the interpreter? Am I right, Steve Miller? Why are you holding up why are you hiding? Get out of the garbage can.
Worked it out. Remain in Mexico. It was an unbelievable success. Remain in Mexico. We check you out, and then we bring you into the country if you check out. Biden didn't do that. He got rid of everything. He had an open border policy.
We did not have an open border policy.
Where the whole world flowed in. Unfortunately, the world were prison populations. If I were running a country...
Dude, and this is where I think Trump has just given up. There's a part of this where you can start to see Trump just going, like, certainly the music thing the other night, where he put on music for a half an hour and just swayed, was a huge sign that he just does not want this fucking job. And you can tell that at a certain point he just gets sick of having to answer for shit, which is the president's job. It's the part that ages all the presidents that actually give a shit.
Any country, and I heard that the U.S. had an open border policy. The first thing I do is open up my jails, take all of my prisoners and let them out, murderers and everyone else. And that's essentially what...
And real quick, how does that work? You give bus tickets, or do they all get? Do you have like a Con Air kind of a thing? And how do you keep that from getting shot out of the sky? Do you think you have intelligence people that would let people know that that they were doing this particular strategy? That's what you do. Would you do it? And you're sure that after you let those people out of jail, they would go to America where they don't speak the language necessarily and stuff? Why wouldn't they just walk out the fucking front door and down the street and go back to killing and whatever they got thrown in for in the first place? I mean, what do you do? Walk them to the border like it's fucking First Blood and say, don't come back. And then what are you going to do? Make sure? When you have less of a border than we do?
What they did, and it's a shame. So we had the most successful country we've ever had, and I hope someday...
Look at this dude, like, no, you fucking didn't, dummy.
Maybe we'll get your vote. Sounds like maybe I won't, but that's okay too. Thank you very much.
Gracias, Ramiro. Thank you so much. Jesus Gonzalez, he is the son of immigrants, the first U.S.-born member of his family as well, el primer
Good, yeah. I'm trying to change the law so he doesn't get to stay either.
miembro de tu familia en nacer aquí en Estados Unidos.
That's what he's dead serious. Trump wants to change the law that makes this guy a citizen, or, you know, have birthright citizenship.
Unidos, hijo de inmigrantes. Adelante con tu pregunta, Jesús.
Good evening, President Trump.
Thank you.
With respect, could you explain your gun control policy to the parents of the victims of school shootings?
I could. We have a Second Amendment and right to bear arms, essentially. And
essentially. Now, the whole, like, well-regulated militia shit, we're just going to breeze right past that? Of course we are.
I'm very strongly an advocate of that. I think you need that. I think that if you ever tried to get rid of it, you wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to take away the guns because people need that for security. They need it for entertainment and for sports and other things, but they also...
Yeah, mainly for entertainment and sports and stuff, because nothing's more entertaining than having a 60-round magazine and a bump stock so that you could, you know, so you can just entertain yourself until the, I don't know what, the great day of the rope.
So in many cases need it for protection. If you have a house out in the country or you're in a little bit of a rough area or in a very rough area,
a medium rough area, like a what if I'm rough area adjacent? You know, I don't live in the rough area, but I can benefit from the zip code.
And the bad guy, let's call him, has a gun.
Okay, the bad guy. Yep, bad guy with a gun. Got it. Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a gun, you're finished. You have no chance. So
what if I'm sneaky? What if I got, you know, what if I Dexter the dude? I'm like, oh, I've got a syringe full of horse tranquilizer, and he's distracted by all the pictures of his victims that I put up in the garage, and you know what I mean? What if I'm, what if I call the police who have a lot of guns?
You need them. You want to have a lot of good people have them. But if we didn't have that, you would see a crime rate that's crazy. I'll tell you, though, it's very interesting.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. You would not.
Interesting stat. The toughest gun laws in the United States.
Oh, this is okay. So this is Chicago has incredible gun laws, so therefore incredible gun laws cause gun crime. Never mind the fact that fucking Missouri and Indiana and, you know, and all the states surrounding Illinois have shit gun laws that have made it necessary for Chicago to increase its gun laws over time because that's where the dumped guns come from.
United States, by far, are Chicago, and that's got one of the worst.
Yes, Chicago plural, our Chicago.
Records of any city, and a lot of them are shot. 17 people died on Labor Day. 17 people died Labor Day weekend in Chicago. It's got laws that are so tough. They want to do everything. They can do anything they want. You have a gun. There's no place, maybe on earth, that has a tougher gun policy than Chicago.
Hold on. Does this asshole think that the people that are shot in most of those Chicago shootings are themselves unarmed? I'm serious. Does he think that, like, that people with guns are just shooting unarmed people all the time in Chicago? Is that how it works? As opposed to gunfights between gang members, which is the large portion of shootings that occur on the southwest side of Chicago? Both groups have guns. As a matter of fact, most of the time they're having, beef wars where they're shooting back and forth at each other, either over turf or over, perceived slights or whatever, that kind of thing. The people that are getting shot at are armed. Doesn't do you any good if you're looking the wrong direction.
Chicago. No, there's no place that has, and they have the right to do anything they want to you. You know what happens?
No, they don't. Chicago, I don't know who the they is. I suppose he means the police or the government or something, that they have the right to do anything to you. No, they don't. You still have all your constitutional rights if you live in Chicago. I didn't want anybody there to freak out.
Probably the worst place right now, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in this country, maybe anywhere in the world.
Is Bakersfield, California, the place with the highest per capita murder rate in the country? Oh, that's right. You don't know what per capita means. I forgot. Apparently, this is an ongoing issue. Let's see.
And when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
Yeah.
So it's not just that. You have to remember this. It's the person pulling the trigger. It's not the gun. It's the person pulling.
No, this bullshit. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Yeah, but hey, asshole, you notice a stray knife has never flown through somebody's fucking window a block and a half away from a knife fight and stabbed somebody while they were having their fucking cornflakes? Did you ever notice that? Did you ever notice that even when there are, knife murders, the knife never, there aren't stray knife killings a block away? Wonder why that is. Also, very seldom does someone have 60 knives that if they drop one, you can pick another one up and drop one and pick it up in a matter of milliseconds.
The trigger. But if you ever passed something, she wants to take everybody's gun away. She's always wanted that. That's because it's what she wants. She wants to take everybody's gun. You know who the one?
No, they don't. We just don't need fucking bump stocks. We don't need machine guns. We don't need fucking 20-round magazines. If you live in the city and you can't hit what you're shooting at in under 10 rounds, you shouldn't be firing a fucking gun in the first place. You're more likely to kill yourself or a family member who's coming home late than you are to actually hit an intruder, you dumbass.
Ones that will never give their guns up, the bad guy. The bad guy's not giving up the gun.
Yeah, they do. We put them in jail and they stay there. And they can't get one. The whole thing about you cut down on straw man sales, and you cut down on guys selling them under the table or the gun show loophole, those kind of things.
And so that's what we have. We want safety, we want security, but you have to still adhere to the Second Amendment. Thank you. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
That's not an answer at all. By the way, let me translate all of that horse shit for you. Nothing. Nothing. He's never going to do anything. Not a thing. The bump stock thing was just for show, and his own SCOTUS got rid of it. He's not going to do shit. Ever. Ever. If people start challenging the law to say I should be able to own a nuclear weapon if I want because the right to bear arms shall not be infringed, and arms is not just a gun, it could be a bazooka or a fucking IED. He's not going to challenge that shit, and anybody he puts on the SCOTUS is going to do the exact same thing.
Muchas gracias. Thank you, President Trump. Our next question comes from Carlos Aguilera. He's a veteran of the construction sector here in South Florida. He says he's seen an environmental crisis grow before his eyes. Carlos Aguilera, veterano del sector de construcción. Tu pregunta, por favor, Carlos.
Yep. Good evening, Mr. President. For 30 years, I've been working in the construction industry and building water plants in Florida.
You might recognize me from not paying me.
I've seen with my own eyes the devastating impacts of climate change. Things that include sea level rise, saltwater intrusion in our drinking water supply, frequent flooding of our coastal communities.
I'm sorry, sir. You apparently are from Earth 1. And this is an Earth 2 gathering where we live in the upside down and everyone talks out of their butthole. Can you invert your question so that our guests can understand it?
Given the amount of the mounting evidence of climate change, do you still believe it's a hoax?
Well, let me tell you, first of all, I built, Okeechobee Dam, and I did so much for Florida in terms of when I was president, and even as a private person, I built a lot.
Did you built a lot of dams as a private person? I'm going to get annoyed, right? Mississippi River in the Everglades, the let's see. Sea levels rose, water table in Florida also rose, rainfall increased from 6,000 to 4,000 years ago, wetlands, Okeechobee Waterway. Let's see, U.S. ACE celebrates completion of the Herbert Hoover. Okay, hold on. Jesus Christ. Did Trump name his shit after Herbert Hoover? Oh, dear. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers celebrates completion of the Herbert Hoover Dike Restoration Project. Stop it. Stop it. Simmer down. You know who I'm talking to. Completion of the Herbert Hoover Dike Restoration. Stop it. You stop it right now. Okay. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Jacksonville District celebrated the substantial completion of construction of the Herbert Hoover Restoration Project around Lake Okeechobee. It's the Herbert Hoover Dike. Stop it. You did too. Don't say you didn't say anything. You did. Quit it. Simmer. Simmer. The Herbert Hoover Dike is a 143-mile earthen dam that surrounds Lake Okeechobee at the heart of the Kissimmee-Okeechobee Everglades system. Spans 730. Lake Okeechobee spans 730 square miles, and the Herbert Hoover Dike surrounds nearly the entire lake as a flood control measure. It's been undergoing a massive rehabilitation project since 2005. Now, I try not to remember who was president in 2005, and it certainly wasn't Donald Trump. So, yeah, they've been working on it, and it just finished in 2023. So I don't know if that's the part he's talking about, but he's talking out of his ass. He didn't do it. He didn't create it, and whatever. He didn't fucking go out there with a shovel when he was a private citizen. What the fuck? He signed the funding for it, probably.
But I did the Okeechobee Dam, which solved a big problem from the climate standpoint.
Did it? Hold on. Okeechobee Dam. Trump. Let's see. What is it? Donald Trump says Hispanics are attracted to me. Bumbles on climate hoax question. Full replay. Donald Trump says Hispanics are attracted to me. Bumbles on the Fields question. Latinos. Universe. Hard line on Trump signs law authorizing reservoir to cut Lake Okeechobee discharges. No, okay. Yeah, the Water Resource Development Act. He signed that. That's what he's talking about. This is what he's talking about. President Trump signs law authorizing reservoir to cut Lake Okeechobee discharges. Ew. Building a reservoir to cut Lake Okeechobee discharges is now federal law. President Donald Trump signed it into law. The law authorizes but does not allocate money for the feds to pay for their half of the $1.6 billion Everglades Agricultural Area Reservoir. Appropriation process could take a couple of years to get the money rolling. Copyright 2020. This was when he signed it. And when was it? 2018. Nothing. Okay. Didn't do shit. Just signed the bill. They didn't even allocate funds for another 2 years.
I do think is this: we can't destroy our country over being forced to do things. They want to do I call it the Green New Deal. They call it the Green New Deal. Some people call it the Green New Hope.
Oh, you call it the Green New Deal? You do call it that? You call it that? Did you come up with that? Is that one of your pithy little fucking names? You call it, I'm sorry, you call it what?
Things they want to do, I call it the Green New Deal. They call it.
You do? You call it the Green New Deal? It's catchy. Has somebody get AOC on the line? Hold on one second. Yeah. Yes, me. Can you get, yeah, get her. Yeah, she's sitting right there. Has she thought of maybe calling it, and I know this sounds crazy, but it just might work, the Green New Deal. Yeah, it's like the New Deal, but it's, yeah, I know. That's genius. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. I know you would have thought of it on your own, probably. But yeah, spread it around. See if it gains in popularity. Probably not. You're right.
Call it the Green New Deal. Some people call it the Green New Hoax. They want to.
He calls it the Green New Scam. He doesn't call it the Green New Hoax. That's just shit. That's just terrible.
Spend $93 trillion on the climate.
No, we're not going to spend $93 trillion on the climate. That's not how it works at all. What that estimation is like lost revenue by, using petroleum industry numbers to argue for we shouldn't switch over because it'll cost us too much in the long term. We're not going to spend $93 trillion fucking solar paneling the world, you weirdo.
Now, I happen to think that there are very important elements of climate, water and air.
Yeah, I would say they're right up there. Yeah? You think those are really important elements of climate? Water and air? Well, I guess we wouldn't have clouds without them. It's an excellent point. I wonder if anybody else has ever put that together.
In my administration, I had the cleanest air on record.
Oh, that's true. That is true. That is true. Donald Trump had the cleanest air since they were measuring it in American history. Anybody know why? Does anybody know why? Why we had the cleanest air? Because COVID shut down the fucking world, dummy. We had the cleanest air because there was no fucking planes in the sky. No cars on the road. There were multiple stories. Holy shit. Fuck me. Hold on. Cleanest air. Whoops. Air. COVID. Whoops. Sorry. COVID. No airplanes. Something like that. Let's see. No. Is there? Let's see. Let's see. Indoor air. Oh, this is all just indoor air shit. Anyways, you guys remember? Yeah. So hold on. Maybe that's it. Yeah. Air pollution during COVID lockdown, I think was. Yeah, here it is. Fuck me. I had the cleanest air in the world. I also had the best border ever. Thanks, COVID. So basically, when Trump says you should have just left it and went to the beach, what he meant was COVID. You shouldn't have it was, you know what it was? It was the fucking vaccines. You had to get everybody vaccinated and back to fucking work. COVID lockdown causes record drop in carbon emissions for 2020. Carbon dioxide emissions from oil, gas, and coal this year are predicted to reach approximately 34 billion tons, a 7% drop from fossil emissions levels in 2019. Emissions from transport account for the largest share of the global decrease. Emissions from transport account for the largest share of the global decrease. I had the cleanest energy ever. What an asshole.
And yet I didn't destroy jobs. I had the most jobs.
No, you didn't. We were losing jobs constantly. It was during COVID, fuckwad.
Of any administration ever.
Don't nod. Don't nod, sir. Please don't nod. He did not. He didn't have the best jobs. That's nonsense to start with. It certainly didn't get better because COVID solved our problems. You fucking weirdo.
I also had the cleanest water, crystal clean. We had the cleanest water, the cleanest air. To me, those are...
Also, what are you talking about? That, again, just made up. We did not have the cleanest fucking water during the Trump administration. By any fucking measure. I don't know what the fuck he's even talking about. And you know what? Like the shit, I think, yeah, the Keystone XL pipeline never got a chance to leak. Maybe that's why. Because Biden shut it down before it could poison our aquifers.
The primary factors: clean water, clean air. We went into rural parts of the country and fixed people's water. They were drinking such terrible water. It was very important to me. All of that's important.
Okay, the EPA does that all the fucking time. You didn't go into fucking anywhere. He signed the regular order bills. This is just shit that's in the budget, dummy. Shit, by the way, that was put in the budget by Democrats.
At the same time, you can't give up your country. You can't say that we're not going to have any jobs anymore.
Yeah, probably that I don't think that would sell. Yeah, I don't know that that would go anywhere, right? So people are hold on. I want to know if I don't know if a stupid. Does the car not stinky if it never turn on? And the water not poisoned if it can't go swimming. And remember, like in the pool, taste funny because everybody got everybody put on sunscreen, make the water make your eyes sting. But if it don't put it on, because nobody swimming, water is all clean. That's the fault. I don't know. Nobody can tell. It's hard to know. Anyway, what you saying?
They said if they took their ultimate, which is $93 trillion, the Green New Deal.
That's not the ultimate. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. $93 trillion, not how much it costs. $93 trillion is how much people say we're not going to make if we do that because it's not work as well. But that's like saying people that used to ride horses everywhere looking at the car going, switch over car makers, cost us a lot of money. We got all the stables already. We got all the horses already. We got all the oats. And so if we try to change over car, we're going to lose lots of horse money. And if we lose horse money, we're not going to be able to do that thing. It's going 93 trillion horse dollars. That's what it's going to be. Horse dollars.
93 trillion. That's more money than we would have in 20 years. We wouldn't be able.
That actually, the GDP actually 26,000 $26 trillion a year. That's 5 years. Less than 5 years. That's less than 5 years.
Able to survive. We wouldn't be able to live.
Right. If it cost $93 trillion in 5 years, that'd be a lot. But since it's $93 trillion over forever, it's forever. And then you never ever will spend money on energy ever again. Ever. Never cost a penny. Our energy free from that point on. $93 trillion for 50 years.
I always feel that with the climate, and I have been I have been an environmentalist. I built many things. I own Doral right next door, and we did that.
That's the golf course.
That in a very I got awards, environmental awards.
Yeah, he gave himself an award. Doral got lots of awards.
for the way I build it, for the water, the way I use the water, the sand, the mixing of the sand and the water.
Yeah, the mixing, you get the sand and the water, and you get gritty feet and then you gotta wipe your feet before you go in the house.
I mean, many different, but I've had many awards.
Yes, the way you mix the sand and the water. I don't know what to talk about. They're very stupid. That's so stupid. I don't know what to talk about. Mixing the sand and the water? What?
Awards over the years for
that lady not know. She look like my babysitter. Oh, that's not good. Not that she does. It's good she look like my babysitter. It's not good what he's saying. What the world?
Awards for the way I build it, for the water, the way I use the water, the sand, the mixing of the sand and the water. I mean,
did the mixing of the sand and the water make a beach? Except when it doesn't. I don't know what he's talking about.
Many different, but I've had many awards over the years for environmental, the way I've built, because you know about building. That's what you do.
Yeah, many awards.
It's very important to me. At the same
very important, but I'm not going to do anything.
time, we can't destroy our country. And
why would it destroy our country? Why would innovation and improvement? Why would it destroy our country?
we're competing against countries that don't spend anything on climate change, like China and others. And
right. But I mean, eventually they're gonna have to, or they're gonna die.
they're able to make their product for tremendously less than us, and we're not.
Right. That's right. If we can't be as, if we can't pollute as much as they do when we make shit as they do when they make shit, we can't compete. Fuck, man.
We're not going to let that happen either. We have to have a strong country, and we have to have a nice climate. And there's nobody better at that, I think, at that combination than me. I will say this, though.
Nobody better at that combination than me. Motherfucker, you can't even combine your makeup and your fucking head. What is that? Look at this. The hell? Dude. He looks like he has the same head as Dan Aykroyd in Nothing But Trouble.
I hear a lot about
is that nose rubber?
Climate, and they talk about global warming, et cetera, because they now used to call it global warming. Now they call it climate change because that covers everything. But global warming. The real global warming that we have to worry about is nuclear.
Oh, this bullshit. So yeah, we're gonna die in a nuclear war. Why are you even bringing up the future? We're all gonna die right now. I have to panic you about this. I don't have any long-term solutions, lady.
The water.
Sorry, Trump canceled what? He's canceled all of his interviews and the Savannah rally because he's demented. Oh, AJC politics in Georgia. Oh, what's AJC? I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, he's definitely canceling a bunch of shit. But I think everybody thinks he needs a big fucking nap before the final run in the next week.
Water's coming up 1/8 of an inch over 300 years. The ocean is going to rise. And, you know, nobody knows if that's true or not. But they're worried about the ocean rising 1/8 of an inch or 1/4.
Hey, asshole, he just told you he's been dealing with it for 30 years, including salt water moving in on the fresh water stores. Like, it's affecting the water supply. He deals with it all the time. It's his fucking job.
Of an inch in 300 years. What I'm worried about is nuclear weapons tomorrow, because
yeah, we'll be fine. It's a Friday. There's no nuclear wars on Friday. It's going to happen on a Thursday, according to Douglas Adams, and not for a long time.
The power of nuclear weapons, and we're going to end up with this administration. If she gets in, we will end up in a third world war. She's grossly incompetent, and if she gets in, Kamala, if she gets in, we're going to end up in a third world war. And with me, you'll never end up in even a war. So we have to be very careful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have to be very careful. Remember that thing you asked me about that you care very deeply about and you deal with in the real world all the time? We might all die tomorrow, so fuck it. I mean, you got to die of something. Smoke them if you got them. Fuck it.
Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you
it's time
very
to
much.
take our last commercial break.
Also, everybody there is like, this fucking dude. We're almost done. By the way, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. This is Trump's full Univision thing. I did the beginning of it in the earlier stream, and we'll finish it up now. And then I've got a couple other videos for you. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc.
Ya estamos de regreso en este
We
encuentro
are back in this historic encounter with ex-President Donald Trump and the
Gotta love that ex-president business.
Latino voters.
Question comes from Yaritzia Kuhn. She's a homemaker and has a question about women's reproductive rights.
A homemaker.
Yaritzia Kuhn se dedica al hogar y tiene una pregunta sobre salud reproductiva. Adelante, Yaritzia.
Buenas noches, señor presidente. Su esposa Melania dijo recientemente.
Uh-oh. Did I hear a Melania name drop?
Que apoyaba los derechos reproductivos de las mujeres y que pudieran practicarse un aborto.
Good evening, Mr. Trump, President. Recently, your wife, Melania, said that
This is going to be good. Just going to enjoy this, if I could.
that she supported women's rights of reproduction along with being able to get an abortion.
Mi pregunta es si usted está de acuerdo con ella.
My question is, do you agree with her?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I told Melania that she has to go with her heart and she has to do what she has to do. She has to support what she wants to support. And she wrote a great...
It won't make a difference because her rights in Florida are up to Ron DeSantis in the Senate there, so she can think whatever the fuck she wants, but that's where we live, so fuck you.
Book. It's a #1 bestseller. I hope you all go out and buy it.
Was that in the prenup?
It's really a great book.
Is it? It's got pages and words and a cover and stuff.
But I want her to do what...
What's your favorite passage? Before you move on to that next thing, what's your favorite part? What do you think? Is it the dedication page probably? With that? The end? Or how it ends? You haven't gotten there yet, have you? What the cover smells like?
What she wants to do. I wouldn't want to oppose what I think. What has happened...
You wouldn't want to oppose what you think? You mean impose? You fucking chimp. Impose, not oppose.
Is over the last 52 years, people have wanted to get Roe v. Wade out of the federal government.
It's not my fault. Everybody told me to get rid of it, and then I did, and now everybody's mad at me, and this is bullshit, and I'm going to lose this fucking election because you assholes told me, and everybody said everybody wanted it, and then it turns out they didn't want it. They did not want it. They didn't want it. And you told me they did. You said everybody wanted to go back to the States. And what did I do? I sent it back to the States. And you fuckers, I'm going to lose this fucking election because of some Rovember bullshit. And you guys told me to. That's my direct translation, if I may.
And they've been trying. Every lawyer, every legal scholar, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, everybody wanted it out.
No. No, they didn't.
It shouldn't be in the federal government. They wanted it out for many different...
No, men and women should have the same rights of bodily autonomy no matter where they live in the fucking country. That's a constitutional protection. It's not up to the fucking states to impose some sort of religious test on women, but not on men. Fuck you, eat shit, no. And by the way, again, Roe was not lost in 2022, people. It was lost in 2016. And if you're thinking, Hal, careful, you don't want to go vote shaming, do you? You fucking ain't right, I do. If you didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. And you own a huge chunk of this fucking ruling.
Different reasons, all of them very good reasons. And I was able to do that. And with the courage of 6 great Supreme Court justices who are brilliant and courageous.
And have been lying in their confirmation hearings for decades.
Because this issue has torn our country apart.
No, that's what it's doing now, fuckhead.
For 52 years,
No, it hasn't.
Torn our country apart.
No, it hasn't. I would like you, everybody remember the I don't know, the fucking 90s? How about the 80s? How about the fucking 70s? Jesus Christ, even during the civil rights era, was it abortion that was tearing the country apart? Do you think the fight over civil rights and, you know, dogs being sicked on people and shit, when that stuff was going down, you think that was over fucking abortion? It wasn't. It's been tearing, I'll tell you what it's been doing. It's been tearing the Republican Party apart. They've been having to deal with these fucking lunatics on their side of the aisle, and he just got tired of listening to their bullshit, so he cut it loose. This has nothing to do with Democrats and the rest of the fucking country. This is a fringe group on the Republican side that got too noisy and too powerful too quickly.
And if something wasn't done, it would have continued and maybe gotten worse.
Worse for who? Dr. Tiller? Worse for who? The women who are bleeding to death in parking lots? The 134 rape victims in this country that are in daily in this country who are getting pregnant by their rapists, who will not have, they'll have to leave the state or find some other way to have an abortion so that they don't have to carry it to term.
And I was able to do that. And I, like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions for life of the mother, rape, and incest.
Okay, so you believe in late-term abortions. You believe in abortions in the 9th month. Because the majority of the ones to save the mother in an emergency situation happen in the last trimester. In the 7th, 8th, and yes, the 9th month. And it's heartbreaking for the mother, and it's something that happens between her and her doctor, and they've already picked out fucking toys and had a gender reveal party and fucking picked out, like painted a room and bought a carriage, and it's torment, and you're like, you know what? Maybe the Lord's just still mad at you over that Apple shit. So it's probably your time to go, lady. You're just not good at your primary job, which is to be a broodmare for the state.
So I believe in exceptions. Most people do. Most Republicans do. There are some that probably don't. Of course, that number has gotten a lot larger with the years.
Sorry, the number that don't? Listen to that again.
Most people do. Most Republicans do. There are some that probably don't. Of course, that number has gotten a lot larger with the years.
Yes, the number of Republicans who don't believe in exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother has gotten larger over the years. I feel so much better.
And what they wanted, what people wanted, is for it to go back to the states and a vote of the people. It's going back to the states. And
why? Why did they want that? Tell me why Democrats wanted it. Now, like, I know why Republicans want it, because they think, you know, if a woman can't produce children, God doesn't want her on the planet. She's taking up space and she's a useless eater, I guess. But tell me why you think Democrats want to punt it back to the state. What was their reasoning in your, you know, listening sessions about this shit? God damn, this is dumb.
And a vote of the people. It's out of the federal government now, which is so good. And now, if you look, the states are voting on it. And some states, like Ohio, a state that I won by a lot, took a very liberal stance. They have a very liberal stance. Same thing with Kansas and other states.
Yeah, and it's going to result in more Democrats getting elected so that we can codify this into a law so that we don't ever have to deal with this shit ever again.
And some states took a tougher stance. But what it is...
Yes, the ones where women have to flee the state.
It's now the vote of the people within the states.
So on a state level, they get to vote on the number of rights a woman has. Are any men's rights up for a vote? Besides, of course, J.D. Vance, I'm sure we're just a couple of days away from J.D. Vance saying that, you know, rapists deserve parental rights. Visitation for serial rapists. That'll be the thing. Right? Hey, a father's very important. This is an Kamala Harris is anti-family, right? If she doesn't want this guy to be able to see his kid that this 12-year-old has to carry to fucking term, right?
This is what everybody has wanted for
Again, gibberish.
52 years. They wanted to
Again, I don't know where he gets this.
get rid of Roe v. Wade and let it come back to the states. And I've done that, and now the people are voting on it. And you're going to see it's going to heal. It will never heal. It would have never healed if it stayed in Congress, if it stayed in the federal government. It's now in the states. The people are voting as we speak. The people.
So, all right, every state's going to vote on this. Some states are going to be draconian religious-based law, and some are going to vote from a humanitarian standpoint, allowing for it. And the states that don't are either going to look the other way as, women in that state go to visit their aunt in fucking Illinois, right, to take care of it when something like that happens, right? Or they're going to set up laws that are so draconian where the women can't leave. They're going to track their fucking periods. If you're registered, if you buy a pregnancy test, it's going to register. You have to sign up to get one. You won't be able to have contraceptives if you're in a fucking marriage because you should be producing children. Shit like that, right? Then they're going to reach a point. I don't know when it'll be, but at some point they'll be like, enough dead women. That's how we got here in the first place. That's how Roe happened, was that in general, the American public were like, all right, enough dead people. Fuck this. Enough dead women. And some states, like Trump is talking about, will take way longer. Alabama, Texas, they're like, we can lose, way more women than, fucking Georgia does.
Voting. Some states have completed, like Kansas, Ohio, and a lot of others. But it's going to settle a problem that was only going to get more.
Also, what makes him think that right-to-lifers are going to stop if a bunch of states do it? This is exactly how you get them forcing through, using a myriad of issues, an abortion ban, a nationwide abortion ban, right? Because they can't get it state to state. They're going to lose in the majority of states. And then even the states they win in, over time, they're going to lose. So what's their only recourse in the future? A nationwide ban.
More divisive and worse. It was a big...
And he would sign it, by the way.
Big dispute for a long period of time. And I think the question is great, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gracias, Yaritza. Thank you, President Trump. Our next
Again, didn't answer it.
question comes also from Arizona. Carlos Garcia was part of our town hall last week with Vice President Harris. Carlos Garcia participó, hizo una pregunta en el encuentro con la vicepresidenta Harris. Adelante, Carlos.
Buenas noches, señor presidente. Es un honor estar aquí en esta noche. Gracias por contestar nuestras preguntas.
Good evening, Mr. President. Thank you for being here tonight with us, and thank you for answering my questions.
Aparte de ser analista de datos, también soy pastor de jóvenes en mi iglesia local.
Besides being a data analyst, I am a pastor for the youth in my local church.
So get ready. In a couple of months, this guy is going to have his hard drive seized by the FBI.
Así que creo en el poder de la reflexión y del crecimiento a través del aprendizaje.
So I believe in the power of growth through reflection and learning.
Todos tenemos
triunfos
y también tenemos errores. Entonces mi pregunta es,
we can always have triumphs, but we can always also have mistakes. And my question to you is,
de sus 4 años en la Casa Blanca, ¿cuál fue algún error?
4 years in the White House.
O aprendizaje.
Out of the 4 years you were in the White House, can you name one error or something you learned?
De esos 4 años, para que nosotros podamos aprender de usted y darle nuestro voto otra vez.
During those 4 years, so we may learn from you and once more give you our vote.
Thank you very much. We had a very successful administration. Everybody acknowledges it because we had...
No, we don't. I do not. This shall not stand. No. Fuck you. I do not acknowledge it. Garbage, nonsense, horse shit. You shit the bed, dummy.
The great economy, which is so important. We didn't have inflation. We won the war. We rebuilt the military. We
won the war? Sorry, what war did we win? What war was that?
Won the ISIS.
Oh, you won the ISIS. I see. Congratulations. You won the ISIS lookalike contest? I loved that cartoon when I was a kid.
And we didn't, the nice part is, we didn't get into any wars. As a pastor, as somebody of faith, you have to like that.
Well, it depends. There's a lot of wars in the Old Testament. Some of them were justified.
Hasn't happened in 82 years that happened with a president. I didn't get into war.
You bombed Syria. You left the Kurds to die. You turned off of the rules of engagement that Obama put in to limit civilian deaths. You stopped the cops program that would have allowed police stations to broom the Derek Chauvins of the world. And you got rid of the pandemic response team at the exact same fucking time. And 2 years later, almost to the day, we get Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck and the pandemic at the same fucking time. Maybe, just maybe, you should plan past the day after tomorrow.
We had great trade policies. We changed some of the horrible policies. We did a lot of good.
Hey, asshole, he asked you what you might have learned or done wrong. What mistakes? Stop being so fucking defensive and be an adult.
Things. So when you say about something I regretted, the thing I would say that's most important
is other people. I hired too many terrible people.
And it's going to be most important for coming up is people.
Oh, motherfucker. What'd I say? Like, he's just going to blame somebody else. I let other people tell me who was good. And now I know who's good, so now I'll know. Fucking hell. Wasn't me. I never even saw these assholes before.
It's all about the people.
It is. People who need people.
I had great people, things happened good. Where I had people that I...
Can we just, real quick, can we hear that sentence again?
It's all about the people. Where I had great people, things happened good. Where I had
great people, things happened good. Where I had great people, things happened good. I told you, he's turning into Phil Hartman's Frankenstein. Things happen good. Flies out of like mosquitoes. No, fire good. Wah!
People that I didn't like as much, it doesn't work out as well. And I, unlike Biden or Harris, I get rid of them. I get new people in because I'm working for you. I want to make sure the country is running well. And if somebody's not doing their job, I make change.
Sorry, is he getting fatter while we're watching this? Because he's like, now he's in Jiminy Glick mode. Is it because you think his like, I can't tell because of the shoulder pads. You think he's getting more and more tense as this goes on, and he's just kind of shrinking up underneath it, right? Because he's like, these are hard questions, and I don't understand the language.
So I would say this, the mistakes I made weren't big policy. We had the strong border. We had the great economy. We had all these things.
That dude's neck is still cocked sideways, like, yeah.
But I put some people in that I wouldn't have used again. Now, when I went to Washington, as you know, I was only there 17 times in my entire life. 17 times. I never stayed over.
Which, by the way, not a flex, fuckwad. Not good. D.C. is a great town. There's a lot of culture there. There's a lot of stuff to do. You don't get points for not staying. It sounds like you rolled in to bribe somebody and fucked off. The fact that you never stayed overnight is hinky as shit. Oh, you know where he did stay overnight? Jeffrey Epstein's house. Yeah, there he stayed overnight. D.C., not so much. Jeffrey Epstein's house definitely stayed overnight.
The press informed me of that, so I don't know if it's true, but it sounds like it might be right. Very little. I wasn't in Washington, so I didn't know the people very well, and I relied.
That was the point. That was the fucking point. He ran on the fact that he didn't know DC, he knew the best people, and he would just bring in the best people from outside of DC because there's too many people, stupid people, and we're run by stupid people, and I don't know any of these people, and blah, blah, blah. And you're supposed to bring fucking people in from New York or wherever. You'd have them on fucking speed dial that if you had a problem, you could ask him a question. You're like, we'll get this shit straightened out in an afternoon, right? That was what he ran on. You don't get to do 4 fucking years. We're not talking about the first 6 weeks or 90 days of his administration. Dude, this is fucking 8 years later.
Relied on other people to give me. And generally speaking, I got it right, Bob Lighthizer in trade. We had great trade people. We had a lot of great people. But I had some people that I would not have used again. Now,
oh, you mean like Mike Pence?
I have tremendous experience. I think I have more experience than anybody in history.
Okay. Don't punch yourself in the face. I'm fine. I'm fine.
In terms of the people, in terms of that kind of experience, the experience you need.
Yeah, the experience you need. Picking people to do the actual job while you fuck off and golf.
And I know all of the people. I know the players. I know the good ones, the bad ones, the smart ones, the dumb ones, the ones that don't have courage.
Yeah, asshole. No. Picking people, picking your team, that should be baseline. You're still responsible for everything they did.
You think you never really know about courage until you tested, but I know the people very well. I know who.
Yes, I think that's written on his diaper.
I want, who I don't want. So I would say that in terms of knowledge and learning, it was people. If you have a good group of people or a great, like, secretary, somebody in charge of a big agency.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. A secretary and somebody in charge of a big agency. Yeah, yeah, sure.
It's all about the people. So I would.
It is.
Say that would be the biggest mistake. Mostly good, but some bad.
Muchas gracias. Gracias, Carlos. President Trump, we have time for...
I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm telling you this right now, and I don't want to tell you in a way that will make you upset, because I can understand you are sweating on the upper lip, and there's a lot that is disgusting about you already, my friend. Your suit smells like alligator shit, and I mean that, that's the only compliment I could come up with, because quite frankly, if I had some kitty litter, I would pour it all over you and hope it clumps, because you are disgusting to all of us. In general, let's see if I can do something like this. My friend, we have only a couple of more questions, and I understand you only have one answer left in you. So this is very important. I got to tell you that this lady right now, she is what we call colloquially around here, bored to shit. She's bored like you would not believe. This lady not having it. I'm just saying, you can, if you put your ear to the ground like an old Chippewa Indian, back in the day, you can hear vaginas drying up all around the city. Just being, they don't even have to be downwind of you. You can be upwind, it's still bad. And a heavy wind, I have to say. So don't come back. Don't ever come back. We're not interested in you.
For a couple more questions.
Well, it's okay. They said, would you like to sit down?
Yes.
I said, that is the most uncomfortable looking chair I've ever seen.
Fuck you.
I'm looking at that chair. I said, I don't think anybody could sit in that chair.
I would never have a problem sitting in that chair. But then, of course, none of us are wearing diapers. Well, some of us are, but only for leisure, for having the fun,
I didn't get one.
Let's go do a couple of more. Fine.
Wonderful. Eloy Contreras, he's a security guard at a hospital. Eloy Contreras es un guardia de seguridad en un hospital. Tu pregunta para el expresidente Trump.
Good evening, President Trump. Thank you for being here and taking these questions. When you left office, Mr. President, we were a divided nation. Instead of the United States of America, we were the divided States of America. Win or lose, if the American people to send you back to the White House or not, what specific steps will you take to unite a deeply divided nation?
So when I left office, we had a election that was in dispute by most people, I think.
No, most people you know, because you broomed anybody who told you it wasn't.
But certainly a vast majority of people.
No, not a vast majority of people. You know who isn't included in that, no matter how much she says so? Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know how I know? Because she was elected in that election, and she didn't go, obviously this was bullshit, I'm turning in my congressional keys.
That was the primary division, and that was a shame. That was a shame, because that should never happen with a country. And it's really too bad that it did.
It's too bad that it happened with a country.
It happened, but we are much more of a divided nation now than we ever were then.
Yeah, because you've been stoking your side and making them fucking lose their shit. Also, no, we aren't. Because I got news for you. In the political world, on Twitter, places like that, there's a bunch of shit going down all the time. It's very spicy. But have you seen football stadiums lately, asshole? Have you seen concert venues? Have you seen fucking malls or fucking Vegas? People are living their goddamn lives. There is not a huge division. There's roaming assholes that are looking to start shit, but they would do it if it was just a sports team kicking the ass of other, of their rivals after a game.
And I will tell you this, that when we had the economy blazing, the best economy we've ever had.
Not even close. And this is just the shittiest attempt at hypnotism.
Liberals, radical left people, as I would call them,
they were calling him. The radical left people were calling him. Okay, first of all, asshole, you're president of the United States and you have to sign legislation. So everybody has to call you and be nice to you and want to work with you because they need to get shit done for their constituents. And since you are a psychopath or sociopath more specifically, and you require constant ego stroking and flattery to get anything through, and everybody knows this, they can pick your lock in a fucking second. Everybody was calling you about that stuff. It's not because they liked you or they fucking needed you or they thought you had good ideas.
Democrats were calling me. Our country was coming together. Then we got hit with a gift from China called... Also,
why would that divide us? Sorry, I know I'm interrupting a bunch, but it's my fucking job. Why would COVID... if we're grooving, man, we're getting along so well, why would COVID be the thing that divides us? Why? What would be... seriously. Wouldn't we all come together like we did after 9/11? I mean, there was a lot of bonding over 9/11, right? Could it possibly be that maggots that follow him were having people take horse dewormer and fucking fish tank cleaner to try and fight off the infection instead of treating it as something real, that everybody was selling it as a hoax, that he wanted to slow walk it because he was trying to get his China trade deal done before he slammed the gate, and then he still wanted to fucking play footsie with these assholes? Could it possibly be that maggots all over the place were saying we're going to have vaccine passports and they're trying to destroy religion and all this stuff, and they were blaming... for some reason, even though he signed all these fucking bills, right? Democrats were to blame for this vaccine passport horseshit that never played out.
COVID, and we had to fight that. But for 2.5 years, almost 3 years, we were the most united. People wanted to get together.
No, they didn't. He was being increasingly piggish and shitty. People just knew they had to, and by the way, he's remembering from mid-COVID. When people were calling him, it's because they needed fucking masks and ventilators and fucking PPE and all that shit.
They wanted to be people that I never thought would want to be meeting and were asking to have lunch, have dinner.
You were the president. You signed bills. They also knew you were susceptible to flattery, like every world dictator.
Our country was coming together.
No, it was not.
And the thing that will bring our country together is success. It was coming together because it was so successful. Everybody, Hispanic Americans, Black Americans, everybody had jobs. Women, men, people with high school diplomas.
Again, he says this, people with high school diplomas, stupid people, smart people, people from Wharton School, and people who didn't go to any school at all, blah, blah, and it's nonsense. One of the biggest factors of the unemployment rate during his presidency, besides it being relatively pedestrian to the previous administration and, kind of followed on track, was that the difference between Black and Hispanic unemployment and the average never closed. It always stayed either in parallel or moved further apart, meaning there was more Black and Hispanic unemployment than there was the mean, which is the largely white populace. The whole goal is that you'd want to bring it all together so people, if they're unemployed because of material reasons that don't have anything to do with their skin color.
Diplomas, people without high school diplomas, people from the best colleges in the world, from MIT and Harvard, the Wharton School of Finance, from Stanford, and people with no education. Everybody was doing better than they. Again,
Who the fuck is, like, this is such an emperor's new clothes moment where everybody around him is just fucking, they've got like a bellows and they're all taking turn blowing smoke up his ass.
Ever done. Everybody, every group. And you know who was doing the best? Proportionately were low-income people. And that's a statistical fact. Everybody was doing better. There was no division.
Yeah, there was. What the fuck?
Success will bring our country together. And I never knew that I'd say that. I thought...
Really? You never thought you'd say that? That wouldn't seem like a normal dodge we've heard from other Republicans, too?
That even if you were successful, because the views are so different on so many things. For instance, the Democrats...
Yeah. Communist, fascist, Marxists, lunatics who want to destroy our country and our dollar. You make the country successful, and they're just going to come over to your side. Of course, only if those names you were calling them have no meaning whatsoever, and you were just pulling them out of your ass, and you don't even know what they fucking mean.
Democrats want men to play women's sports. I don't like that. I don't know if they're going to change, but I don't think I could ever change. I see the differences. I don't understand how they could want it. They want transgender operations, change a...
Oh, so, by the way, the reason he's kind of bring this home on this is that there's this generalized belief that, Latin Americans, Hispanics, come from a largely Catholic background, and that they're a red voter in a blue vase, and that if you just could crack that blue vase, you can get at that squishy red center, and they will vote for you. And the way you do that is through bigotry. Anti-gay stuff is big with them, and then abortion's the other one. So that's where he's going after trans, because again, the ship has sailed on gay marriage and those kind of things with this group. He's hoping this is the increase, the higher dose of the drug.
Man into a woman, and in some cases, a boy into a woman without parental consent. I don't...
Yeah, also, no. I think technically a boy would have to turn into a girl. It'd still be the same age, right? We're not trans age yet, are we?
I'm not going to go for that. So
No can do.
I don't know. I never thought you could come together, but I will say this. Success will bring this country together. Thank you.
You mean like successful transitional surgeries, or?
Thank you. Good question.
Thank you. Our last question. Last week, Teresa Yedro had the opportunity to ask the last question on our town hall. Teresa tuvo la oportunidad de hacer la última pregunta la semana pasada.
Asked the last question last week, and she'll have the opportunity again.
Trump,
Go ahead.
buenas noches.
Thank you.
Se me hace justo hacerle exactamente la misma pregunta que le hice a la candidata demócrata.
She's chief of staff at UCLA. She lives in LA. She's born in Monterrey, Mexico. She's 48 years old. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Trump's not going to like this question. Chief of staff at UCLA Med Center?
Good evening, Mr. President. I only think it's fair to ask the same question I posed the Democrat candidate.
¿Cuáles son las tres virtudes que usted reconoce en la vicepresidenta Kamala Harris?
What are the three virtues that you see in Vice President Kamala Harris?
Or tell us 3 things you like about her.
That's a very hard question. That's the toughest question. The other ones are easy. Look, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I think she's harmed our country horribly, horribly.
Yeah, he's a silly person. He makes an attempt, though,
At the border, with inflation, with so many other
Yeah, we covered all that shit, asshole. Answer her question.
things. But she seems to have an ability to survive. She seemed, because, you know, she was out of the race and all of a sudden she's running for president. That's a great...
She's out of the race and all of a sudden she's running for president. First of all, asshole, does he think... Does he think that the primary for the 2024 race that Biden just had with like RFK Jr. in it and Marianne Williamson around the edges, that does he think that Kamala ran in that as his vice president to be president? I'm serious. Does he because the more he talks about it, the more I think he thinks what happened in 2019 happened this year. Right? Or late last year, December or something like that.
Great ability that some people have and some people don't have. She seems to have some pretty long time friendships, and that's also that's I don't call that an ability. I call that a good thing.
Yeah, it's ability is a big word for it, so I call it a good thing. What kind of thing would that be? I mean, obviously, maintaining those relationships and having them would be an ability. She has the ability to maintain long-term friendships. Also, by the way, this is the moment where you also know that Donald Trump has no long-term friends. Again, most of the time, he has no friends at all, but certainly none that have lasted at all. And he knows he's staring down the barrel of a lonely, decrepit end. He knows this. He knows he's just surrounded by sycophants, and he doesn't even trust Don and Eric to actually love him. He's a fucking mess. It's terrible. But he doesn't have any friends. And so most of the time we say with Trump, everything's projection. In this particular case, I would say it's reflection. I think he can see that she somehow has human bonds, both with her husband and her stepdaughter and her friends and her running mate and other people that he just doesn't have.
And she seems to have a nice way about her. I mean, I like the way.
She's got a way about her. I don't know what it is. I think it's the way she destroys the country. She's got a way about her. Her open border calls to me, and I don't know where the fentanyl comes from.
Some of her statements, some of her, the way she behaves in a certain way, but in another way.
The way she behaves in a certain way. What?
I think it's very bad for our country.
She behaves in a certain way that I think is great, but very bad for our country. And that's my job. My job is to make being bad for our country great again. That's my goal.
Bad for our country. But she does seem to have some relationships that be lasting. And she does seem to be
She does have some relationships that be lasting. Gee, I didn't know Trump was black or maybe Scottish till just now. She got some relationships that be lasting. Don't they be lasting, Sonny? Whoops. All right, sorry. Jamie, pull up that thing about the friends that I have. You know, the guys I hang out with. Put it up on the screen, Jamie. Put up on screen. Yeah, put the up on the screen. Yeah, all the guys that I've hung out with more than once, where I don't have to. What do you mean there aren't any? What do you mean? There's got to be some guys I hang out with that I don't have to be drunk to actually be friendly. There aren't? So I'm either drunk or high with friends, or I'm sober and I live a vacuous, empty... Bring up the video of me smoking weed with my friends.
a survivor. Because remember, she was the first one out, and all of a sudden she's running.
Okay, by the way, this whole thing.
She does seem to have some relationships that be lasting, and she does seem to.
She does have some relationships that be lasting. They be lasting, those relationships.
Be a survivor.
And she's not going to give up.
Because remember, she was the first one out, and all of a sudden she's running for president, and the.
No, not all of a sudden, motherfucker. That was 4 years ago. That was 4 fucking years ago. It wasn't all of a sudden. She was the first one out in early 2019, dum-dum. What are you talking about? She's, what? This is, honest to God, I think this motherfucker thinks she joined the ticket in 2023.
The other 21 people that are running, they're sitting home watching her on television, right? So.
No, not right. They've watched her. They've been, first of all, most of them are still in office someplace else. And they're watching her be vice president for the last 4 years, you fucking weirdo.
Oh, that's by far the toughest question I've had today. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your answer.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, President Trump. We've reached the end of our historic conversation. Thanks again for being here with us and answering the questions of Latino voters.
Thank you all very much. It's been an honor. Go out and vote. Thank you. Thank you.
Go out and vote. Don't vote for her, though. Yeah, so that was the end of that horse shit. Man, oh, Shevitz.